Hello! Hello, my friends, and welcome to tonight's episode of The League of Amazing Adventurers here on twitch.tv/tabletop rolls, and that is the last time that I'm going to get to say that.
Oh.
So sad.
Because the next campaign is not going to be called League of Amazing Adventurers. It has a different
Woo!
name.
We haven't decided on yet.
I,
We haven't decided on
have
it yet.
I
That's
have
very
it down.
true.
I have it down to 3. I have it down
Will.
to 3. We're good.
You-
We'll get there.
I'm so ready to write obnoxious little ditties.
I'm very excited to start off my stream with yippee howdy hey, welcome to tonight's episode of It's gonna be a
Genuinely
good
so
time.
true.
I'm so excited. But my friends, before we get into this campaign 1 wrap up, this campaign 1 finale chat, a few announcements. Other shows here on the channel. We have many other shows here on the channel that you can watch, and if you like all these people, you see a lot of them, mainly McKenna and Matt on this show, in a lot of our other shows. For example, if you want more McKenna and Matt, you can see McKenna and Matt on Friday in the Astral Calling. It's our D&D 5e Spelljammer Spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it.
This next arc has some major Treasure Planet vibes, so get ready for it. Then, on Saturdays, we have Salt and Sorcery. That one you can see Matt and myself in, as well as Chad and Crystal Calf in the chat. We're playing through Solasta together.
We're so close to our level 3 subclass.
We're very close, and I'm apparently going to get a lot of healing, so I might actually become like a healer and a buffer, which I'm excited for.
If you say so.
Yeah. Then
I worry about anyone being pigeonholed into the healer.
I'm fine with it. I like playing healers.
Okay.
Oh, you need healing? Bag.
Pay up. You want free healthcare? No.
No, I'm not Canadian in this game. Wahaha. No, but in all seriousness, moving right along from that, on Sunday we have Stardew Sunday. Now, this week we are not going to do the multiplayer because people have things to do, but next week we'll be back with Stardew Sunday with friends. This week I'm going to continue working toward perfection on my solo pile. So we're going to keep doing that. But then the week after, of course, we'll have Stardew Sunday with friends with Will, Aubrey, Evely, and Sarah. And get ready for like a lot of cat talk probably next week.
Meow.
A lot of cat talk. So get ready for that. Come watch me madly panic to get things done while everyone else is just like relaxing and enjoying themselves. But speaking of everyone else relaxing and enjoying themselves, whilst I panic, Monday night we have the Strength of Thousands AP. Some very
Yes,
interesting
indeed.
character development happening in that one. What?
The little martini just
I think the
I'm
arc
not saying anything.
I think the arc that we're going through is interesting, and I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Yes, the start possibly of Igor's villain arc.
Mm-hmm. But let's see, speaking of villain arcs, let's introduce the folks tonight, because I can already tell y'all something about the Western. There ain't many good characters in that show.
What?
Hee
What? I mean, morality is relative.
So
It's-
true, bestie.
It's very interesting, actually, to me. Like, the next characters that y'all have and been pitching, I'm really excited to talk about them tonight.
I would argue my character is extremely moral.
But who
Extreme.
are our characters? Who are the people we had in this campaign, in this final campaign? With us tonight, we have, of course, Abby, who played Cassandra / Corellia in our first campaign. Abby, how are you doing post campaign?
Well, actually, a little news. I am almost done the first draft of my book.
Oh.
Yeah, I think maybe by the end of the
Wow.
week it will be done, and then I can go through editing before I send it to people to read.
Nice.
Sweet.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
So while I'm not worrying about Cassandra, I can get shit done.
There you go.
Lose
Speaking
yourself in the work.
of people who get shit done, we have Cooper, who played a Lynx during our campaign. Cooper, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
There you go.
We love that hesitation
How are
there,
you?
bestie.
How are you feeling post campaign? How are you feeling post campaign 1?
I'm very excited for campaign 2. Campaign 1 was a whole lot of fun, and it really does not feel like we spent 2 years on it.
More than 2 years.
2.5.
Yeah,
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, it
Me
really
being
doesn't
like,
feel like
yeah,
it.
this campaign will probably be like a year, and then McKenna.
It's not just my fault. I feel
And
like
then
I have
McKenna
been
ruined
much
everything.
maligned.
Speaking of McKenna, of course, the person who's been making many sad TikToks about this, and
I made one sad TikTok and then one making
You've
fun
made
of myself.
like 2, bestie.
The second one was me making fun of myself, which actually did quite a bit better.
I really
I think I
liked-
saw that one.
I thought they were very nice. And I had like a nice conversation with someone in the comments. I was like, yeah, they will be.
Yeah.
Tee-hee.
Yeah, because I was posting about one where I was like joking about how I'm acting, I'm the victim for, be allowed to be a player in a campaign where, it went from levels 1 to 20 and my character was given such a wonderful ending. And I was like, and then the campaign ended and I'm acting crazy and I was poking fun at myself for that. And someone in the comments was like, I hope the characters from this campaign will be NPCs in the next, and all
few-
that
a
good
few
stuff.
of them
And
will
Will
be.
chimed in, and
A few of them
Yeah,
will be,
Pepper
and
Pig.
there'll be fun, special nods to the characters as well. I've already actually made some like custom magical items. There's some.
Ooh.
Here's a small campaign 2 preview. There are some magical alchemical items that work slightly better than the regular versions because they have Lynx's name on them.
Lynx, you started a corporation.
Live long enough to see yourself become the
Capitalist
villain.
shell.
But speaking
Many.
of capitalist shills, Matthew.
What?
Wow.
I don't know. I just was like, this can work. The
I
exact-
had a Soviet flag hanging on my bedroom door for years, Will.
I did not know
That's-
during this time.
We just boomeranged from one bad extreme to argue.
We
Yeah,
really
together.
did.
Yeah.
I was young and foolish, and I purchased it in Rome, of all places.
Me when I
Unpack
was
that.
English.
Fascinating.
When in Rome.
When in Rome.
By Soviet flags.
When in Rome, specifically, as in what year?
Oh
I
God,
wanna
I
go to
was
Rome.
I was actually very young when I
Oh.
minor bit of Matt lore. When I was young, my family went on a
Matt
vacation to Europe, where we did a 3-city thing. We went to London, Paris, and Rome.
Oh,
Nice.
fun.
Wow.
Yeah,
Ah.
and also I love stupid little kitschy tourist stuff. I have like a tiny little Eiffel Tower, a tiny Colosseum, a tiny little beef eater from London. I love stupid touristy stuff.
But
I
speaking
love that for you.
of that, Matt played Garl in our campaign?
Also that crossbow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Matt, how are you
yes,
holding
I-
up?
I'm actually feeling pretty good. I imagine once I see the art I've commissioned from someone of Garl and Cassandra, I will suddenly break down.
Aw.
But I was really hoping I would get like some initial sketches by tonight, but
Mhm.
I
You
think
won't be
they're
alone in that, bestie.
wait till the direction I gave them for things.
Horny!
No. Entirely
Wholesome.
wholesome and will melt you hot.
I'm gonna cry when I see it. I already
I
know.
think I have some ideas.
Mhm.
But I'm really looking forward to that.
But yeah, y'all, here we are.
We are here.
We are here at the campaign wrap up, and I think there
we
is only
are.
one way to start this wrap up. That would be right.
Oh no. By crying.
Wanna do the
By
intro?
running the intro one
One
last
One
time.
last time.
One last time. Here we are, y'all. The wrap
Yeah.
up of campaign 1. Our very first PF2 campaign on this channel, our longest running show at 121 episodes.
Hot diggity damn.
A little bit over 2.5 years. Over 240 hours of content for people to watch. Now it being uploaded to YouTube.
Cheers.
We're on episode. We're
Into
we're
that.
not that far behind. I think we're on episode 80, so I'm only like 20 episodes behind, 40 episodes behind.
40.
I mean, considering the amount of episodes, that's not actually that bad.
No, it's not
Yeah.
bad at all. And we're doing 6 a week, so a couple of
Woohoo.
weeks we'll be fully caught up. Oh, y'all! I had like so many things planned for tonight, and now my
Mhm.
brain is just like, friends.
Aw.
Well-
Been there.
If you like,
Relatable.
well, I have a question for the entire group.
Go for it, Matt.
So, there was a particular event that occurred during the campaign
Okay.
that didn't really pay off till possibly like 3 episodes from the end of it, which I'm calling Crystal Gate, where a certain character made a decision and did something sort of behind everyone's back,
Mhm.
and it didn't come up till the very end. And in a way, I feel like the impact of that had sort of been softened by time and distance. But
Mhm.
if Lynx's actions had been discovered in the heat of the moment, I'm curious if people would have had different reactions. Mostly, I guess
Oh.
I'm asking McKenna and Abby.
I think that Lynx would have been evicted.
Evicted.
Yeah, Nimbus was kind of done with people fucking up at that point.
No, that was pre-Megdia. Nimbus was still trying at that point.
She hadn't banished Ray to the Shadow Realm.
She had nothing
Jesus.
to do with that. That was all Arinari.
Secret.
God, I wish I was here to.
To defend herself.
Such slander.
Shot
But
recording a diss track.
I remember wanting to be able to react to it in real time because if you pull up that map, I still, as a player, think it was bullshit that I wasn't able to see what had happened.
I mean, there was probably a lot going on in the room.
I
Yeah.
mean, I can.
I had a direct line of sight. And Will was like, "No, you didn't see it." And I was like, "Okay."
If you say so.
Let's see if I actually.
Yeah, pull up the map. Let me
I want-
let me
I
show
want-
you
I'm
where
seeing
I
if
was
I-
because
I'm
I
seeing-
remember it because it rankles
I'm
me.
seeing
My work
if I
here is done. I'm gonna
actually-
sit
I'm
and
seeing
drink
if I
on my drink.
actually archived it with a name. So chat. I tried to name all the maps, but hindsight being 2020, when it's been over a year, you forget the names of things. So, for example, I have maps that are just called Angel of Music, Beach
Nice.
Volleyball, Catwalk Catfight, City Gates.
I remember Catwalk
Remember that
Catfight.
one.
I loved Catwalk
Um,
Catfight. That was a fun time.
Deep Road, Destroyed Garden, Evocation,
This
Final
one-
Battle, Final Battle, Final Battle.
So true.
This one might be something Baba Yaga because we also fought her on the same map, if I recall
Nope,
correctly.
That's the Ghoul. Magistguard Street, Museum Rumble. I don't have any maps named after the Baba Yaga.
Interesting.
Park.
It was in the
Park.
Magistguard Wastes.
Relic Storage? Nope.
Mm,
Sculpting Room, Sewers, Table, Test Arena, Time Lab, Train Car, Roof, Trial of Power, Twisted
Return of the train
Compliance.
car.
The Final Fantasy VII game or map.
Award-winning
Nothing but
Final
trains.
Fantasy?
Nope. OP Fight, Order Arena, Puzzle Plane Gate, Smithy. I cannot find it.
80s,
Clearly, it never
40s.
happened.
Clearly, it never
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just a mass hallucination like the Bernstein Bears.
I cannot find
Um,
it. But
Ultimately, at that point, though, Matt, I think the reality of the situation is that reacting to it in the moment with any amount of specific vitriol, our actions were limited in terms of how crazy we could go because we were out in the middle of the desert, sort of relying on each other for survival.
Mhm.
And infighting in that sort of scenario was not going to be beneficial. And I think the characters that would have been upset by that revelation coming forward faster are the same characters who would have been like, there's nothing, we can't deal with this right now. Unfortunately, we don't have the time, and there are more pressing issues.
I do
I would agree
wonder
with that,
though,
honestly.
would you have treated Lynx differently going forward from there? Would you have been keeping a closer eye on their behavior? Would you have been more critical of their decisions? Sorry to put you on the spot, Coop.
No, quite honestly, I feel almost lucky that I got away with that for as long as I did.
I can
'Cause-
say from Nim's perspective, there was a certain point in the campaign where she was already kind of avoiding Lynx due to his proximity with Ray. And for reasons that I hope are obvious in character, she really was trying as hard as she could to just sort of stay out of that line of fire while also defending the people who were in it. So I think it just would have been a harder gap to bridge post Shy going on to her other show. Like post Ray, I just think that would have taken more conversation.
Mhm.
But Abby, as Cassandra was the catalyst for a previous kind of cataclysmic event, what do you think your perspective on Lynx's actions might have been?
Yeah, I think Cassandra definitely would have kept a closer eye on him going forward, but I don't think like in the moment she would have been too hard on him because the whole Magicguard waste was kind of her fault in the first place. So I do think
Hot
actually
kettle.
she might have been a little less upset about it than she was because she wouldn't have gone all that time thinking it was her fault in the first place
Mm.
because she thought it was something like her involvement in it that had caused the accident. So she went all that time up until the reveal thinking like with that guilt, and she's like, wow, I didn't need to feel guilty that whole time.
I really recall
Fucker.
feeling like shit about that actually. Like as soon as it became a point of not contention, a point of internal turmoil for Abby, I was like, uh-oh,
Uh-oh.
uh-oh, uh-oh,
Whoopsie
Oh
doopsie.
no, the consequences of my actions.
uh-oh.
No consequences of my action. Just like me right now.
And just so Will doesn't feel like he's been abandoned by this line of questioning,
Ah,
question for the DM in that regard.
yeah.
Did you ever feel the itch to sort of poke Lynx in the gut with that particular choice he made over the course of the campaign?
Oh,
I
I mean,
think he
I did it. I
did.
did it a couple of times, and I mean, the spear also.
Well,
did
more
at one
so
point.
though.
I caught that, Will.
I had
Fuck you.
I had to get one more in. I'm sorry.
I understand entirely. Fuck yourself.
The spear.
Respectfully.
There's going to be a spear trap in episode 1 of the next campaign, and I hope Cooper gets hit by it.
I guarantee you Christine will walk right into it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be great. But in all seriousness, yeah, there was a couple points where I took a couple shots at Lynx there, and I didn't like do it in like a super obvious way, but I think I did it in a way that Cooper picked up on and felt a little bit of guilt for. Like at one point, when they were meeting up with some of their old party members, and Cooper's former close friend, I believe, had
Hashtag first crush, but
Hashtag
also
first
like don't like contact.
But after them, they had talked about how, yeah, they had other party members in that crystal. Not everyone made it out. Other people
Yeah.
got stuck. So, like, Cooper directly found out that Lynx had hurt their older friends with their actions.
No, none of them were hurt by the crystal thing because we weren't able to find any of their spirits. We had established that much at least, that they had just gone into other androids and we couldn't find them.
Yeah, and at that point, I was really like kind of upset actually.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, so first thing I wanted to talk about on my list of things. Number 1, for me, that was the first PF2 homebrew campaign that I did ever.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Pop
up
off.
to that point had been like society play or had been adventure paths, like the Age of Ashes. Oh God, the Age of Ashes. And I wanted to ask y'all, did you have fun? I think like in McKenna and Matt's pace, comparing it to adventure paths, do you prefer an AP or do you prefer a homebrew? I'm curious about that as well. So I'll start with you, Abby. Abby, did you have fun?
Yes, I had so much fun. It was great. I always prefer homebrew just because I feel like you can do so much more with it.
Good. Cooper?
I had fun. I really enjoyed just getting to play, quite honestly. I had been looking forward to this campaign ever since we first mentioned it, all the way back before quarantine started, and then this became something that was really like keeping me afloat in more ways than one. Um, it it was a very fun time, and I very much enjoyed it. I'm excited for the next campaign. I have no real experience with things like society, so obviously I can't speak to that, and it's not like you've asked me to, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm curious to hear what the educated opinions are in that regard, but I really enjoyed this.
I am slowly coming to the realization that I was very lucky in the people that I've interacted with in the Pathfinder community online. So like the way I
Mhm.
try to get people into the community now is changing and is actively changing based on like what people have told me. So it's like, okay, let's like I kind of want to make this like a really fun community for people to come and join this game in, because it's a very
For
fun
sure.
game. Just you
Yeah.
know, you have to do what I do with Critical Role, where I enjoy the thing without interacting with the larger fan base. But McKenna, why don't we? I want to get your thoughts on this. I'm curious.
I mean, I think you already know that I prefer homebrew, but I will happily say that on stream, for the record, I will always prefer homebrew content to module or adventure path content. And that is not, I think that usually has very little to do with the DM. I just, in my experience, when I have played modules, and this is in 5th edition and Pathfinder, the most interesting part of those modules are the parts that the DM puts in themselves that is not originally a part of a module. I think modules are great skeletons, but a DM who is excited about what they are doing will build musculature and cosmetics on that skeleton to make it something that they like too, because I think the DM is also a player, and if they aren't having a chance to be creative and have that input on the story, then it sort of becomes less about the storytelling, right? And becomes more about being a moderator. So I also think that DMs, part of the reason maybe I like the homebrew content that DMs insert into modules so much is because I can tell that the DM's excited about it. Like I can tell that it's something that like puts a little bit of fire in their brain, and gives them the happy chemicals, and that makes me happy too. So that's my take on modules versus homebrew. And also homebrew,
Did you have fun?
yes, of course I had fun.
That's what I care
Of
about.
course. I mean, I feel like the fact that I think I only missed in this campaign maybe 2 or 3 sessions.
I think it was too.
I think it was 2, and both were for
Pretty damn impressive, honestly, with this many episodes.
yeah.
Yeah, 121 weeks, y'all.
I feel like that is evidenced by my attendance record that I was having fun. So you have statistical facts
I feel like
backing
We've got
up.
the
Ben
numbers.
Shapiro.
I
Oh,
feel like
God.
I feel like we should get like an achievement for the fact that we kept a group together for 121 sessions,
Oh, I know what I'm
That's
getting Will
wild.
for Christmas.
right?
A little plaque that's like an achievement thing.
You
No, then I have to hunt all the achievements, Matthew.
Yeah, but you don't know what they are.
Yeah, that's fair. I did get the TPK achievement.
Buy Matt a Sunday.
I can.
Buy
we
Matt
can
a
go to Sergeant
Sunday.
Sunday.
I mean, we do that on Canada Day anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll get you. I'll buy you a Sunday on Canada Day, Matthew.
I've never actually had a Sunday from there.
They're pretty good.
I bet.
But, Matt, did you have fun?
I did have fun. Though I do also want to say that my perspective is possibly a little different because of the group. I have probably played vastly more society play.
Yes.
Yeah.
And while the society play I did wasn't like long form APs until the Age of Ashes, Will,
Mm-hmm.
there are some fun things I do like about society play. They are short, kind of bite-sized little things. Not to say that this happens necessarily a lot with more homebrew stuff, but with the bite-sized things, people know there's not a lot of room for like meandering and stuff. There are no shopping trips really in like Society of Play and the like, so it's real quick. Get to the action, get to the puzzles, get to the weird little social interactions, and y'all know how bloodthirsty I am, so rip and tear until it is done. But a long form campaign is really nice. You really get to sink your teeth into the character. You really get to think long and hard about the progression, about how they interact with the other characters in the campaign and the like. Plus, this is the first long form campaign that I've ever got to play in as a player. All the other games I did with like PF1 and PF2 that I ran for my friends, we've gone through several campaigns now, but I've always been the DM.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it was very rewarding being able to sit in Garl's shoes for an extended period of time with people who actually get to know her beyond sort of almost the meme she became at my local society plays.
Garl.
It wasn't a
In a
bad
good way,
name.
people would just go, Garl.
Carl. That's Doug. Doug started that.
Yes,
Good guy,
Yeah.
Doug. But yeah, that's
which I do
actually
enjoy.
that's how I met Matt. Was through society stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Oh,
I still don't know why you chose me of all people to possibly be involved in this, but
I mean,
Uh,
look at you.
Because
oh god, don't no.
I can tell you exactly why I chose.
Imagine being seen.
I can tell you exactly
Me.
why. Like I can get into like why I was like I want these group of people to play this campaign with me online. Like I can get into that if y'all want. Cuz like I had
Sure.
very specific like reasons for everything at the
I
time.
am curious, actually.
So, for Matt, I'll start with Matt because it's probably like the least
Oh wait, I have an inkling. I think I know.
embarrassing for me.
Maybe not.
So for Matt and I had a wonderful session together at one point where we
What?
went and tried to solve a mystery in a city. In this like in this small town in the middle of the woods. There was people disappearing and we had to try to figure that out. And as we were going through it, the GM for that particular game was talking about how everything in this entire thing hinges on a singular skill check.
Oh, I know where this is going.
And so
Oh,
me and
jeez.
Matt are getting in here. We're doing all of our stuff. I'm a summoner, so I'm like charisma based. I have my little Roomba Squirtle, my little trap Roomba Squirtle right here. Hello, Squirtle.
This was PF1 back where you could just abuse your summons.
Not abuse. I healed him.
Yeah, okay, well.
And so we were going through that AP. We were going through that adventure, and it was myself, Matt, and a pre-gen because the other people at the table had backed out. So it was just me and Matt playing together. And so Matt and I get to this point where the skill check, where everything hinges on this one skill check. I botch it, the NPC botches it, and then this mother trucker gets a natural 20. And the thing is, at the time, Garl not the brightest bulb.
No, this was a nature check though. It didn't require intelligence.
It did not. But Garl just nat 20'd it, and it just became a bit of a story for us. And between that and like every other interaction I had with Matthew, to be entirely honest, Matthew is probably the most positive interaction with people I've had at our local society play.
I hope that doesn't disparage our local society too much.
I think that they're I think Matt's like one of the best people you can meet in this city, to be honest with you. And then like combine that with the fact that at the time a bunch of like the people who I thought were my friends in high school and like post school were doing some really shitty things. I was kind of alone, and like Matt was there. Matt was a good person, and it was just nice. And then eventually Matt let me drive them home at one point, and then we became friends after that.
Oh.
Because Matt would always like walk home after. I was like, Matt, do you want to ride? And Matt would like never like say yes. I was like, oh, he doesn't like me. So for like months, I thought Matt didn't like me.
I have a problem accepting help.
Me.
I know that now.
Yes.
But so that was Matt. And then we have Abby.
Hi.
Who was
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, for real, Jesus.
one of
The
people...
hesitation speaks volumes.
It does.
here.
I'm
Frightening.
trying to word this correctly. Because Abby was one of the people that, in like my final AMDA group, I really enjoyed playing with and wanted to continue playing with when that group dissolved. And B, Abby is just good people. Like, Abby is generally a positive person. She is just like a delight to be around. And I was just like, you know what? If I'm doing a project, if I'm doing a project where I could have people that I know playing this game with me, and if it becomes successful, they get to do something with it, I want Abby to get something out of this, because Abby deserves that. And that's actually very similar to the reason why I wanted Shy in the game initially too, because like, chat, y'all know I adore Shy.
Yeah.
Like, the people in this campaign, the people in this League of Amazing Adventures campaign, Shy, Abby, Cooper, McKenna, Matt, and once we're doing the Western, Zoe is included in this. Like, those 6 people, along with now Rosalie, if I'm being entirely honest, like, those are like the 7 people in this world who I know I would like jump in front of a bullet for. Like, this is the amount that I care for these people. And like that in the case of like Shy and in the case of Abby, like that's where it started. And then like for like the case of McKenna and Cooper and Matt, like as like everything kept going, and like we spent like 2 years doing this together, and like we all got very close. And yeah, it's just that. So this is me being all sentimental and trying not to cry on stream.
Aw, cry on stream.
I
Cry
probably
on
will at
stream.
some point tonight.
Be a
Well,
loser.
But like the
Cry for me, Will. I can't do it anymore. My blood is sand.
Oh, mood.
I'm so old.
but like yeah, like I don't know, I'm very happy because I basically surrounded myself with people that I really liked, and then people that I completely platonically love. Like just like the best people in the world as far as I'm concerned.
Which
Speaking-
is saying something, because I feel like there were a couple of people that you didn't know all that well and took a chance on. Like, we were not close before this game.
Oh, not at all. We had talked at one point at AMDA.
Like, literally.
And I had brushed you off that night to go and make out with a girl.
I think I also had stuff to do.
Yeah, but I literally had, like,
Respectfully.
I ended our conversation like quickly so I could go and make out with a girl. And hindsight being 2020, bad choice.
I don't even remember. I just remember that you happened
It
to
was
be there with the
Sammy.
group of people, and you were, oh, Lord, and you were on your
Oh.
phone. So that was my first and only impression of you was like we were in a group of people and you were texting someone. I now know it was.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Like I said, hindsight being
Yikes.
2020, up until recently, I've had very bad taste in romantic partners.
What can you do?
What can you do? But like in the case like you and Cooper, Cooper I knew through Vic.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I thought Cooper was in New York. I was incorrect about that. But I just...
He was
For some
living with me.
reason-
I actually kind of dragged Cooper into it, if
Yeah.
you remember Cooper.
Well,
Yeah.
Because you were like, oh yeah, I'm roomed with Cooper. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Huh?
Cooper? I haven't seen Cooper. I haven't seen
I was like,
Cooper since
Cooper,
that
I
one night
only
in
met this guy
Franklin.
once. Play with me in case he's weird.
And then he was weird.
And then I was weird.
You're actually not the first person to say that, though. A lot of people thought that I was in New York City for some
I thought
reason.
you were.
You just have East Coast vibes.
I have.
I do.
I have this
It's-
core memory of what I thought was you playing this Pathfinder 1 game with me, where everyone else was drunk except for myself, and it was miserable.
Mm.
I was playing
Yeah.
a summoner in that too.
I think you have a type, Will.
I do.
Lesbians.
Misery.
Yeah.
Sorry, Emily, I don't
I
know if
mean,
you're
let's
watching
be honest.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so like in Cooper's case, McKenna said, "Hey, I have a roommate. Cooper's really cool." I was like, "Oh yeah, I know Cooper. Cooper's good people. Yeah, Cooper, you want to do this?" And then Cooper's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah," because I think like the last time I had talked to you at that point was that party.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, was that party was like the last time that like we like had spent any long periods of time together, because at that point everything just picked up for everyone. It was getting hectic near graduation.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I
There's
remember
so
Cooper.
much I could say here.
Cooper's good
but I-
people."
There is so
think
much that
we-
we could
There
both
is.
say
Let's
here,
not.
but this is a family-friendly
This is a
stream,
somewhat
McKenna Ray
family-friendly-
We
Tynan.
might get kicked off Twitch.
Yeah, let's not describe the night of that party.
No, I don't think I will,
I don't think I
McKenna.
will. But and then like in McKenna's case, honestly, I was just and McKenna,
Say it.
please just know that
Say
I say this with like love in my heart now.
Uh-huh.
I was scrolling through my Facebook's friend list and was like, okay, so we have Abby, I have Matt in mind for this. I need other ideas. And then I was just scrolling. It's like, oh, this person's in a cosplay profile. Huh. Oh, I remember them. Yeah, they seem chill.
Into cosplay. How did you know that?
Your profile
that
picture
was-
at the time was you in your Star Wars cosplay. In the jumper.
Oh,
Oh.
interesting.
I
guess that
haven't heard
was
about this cosplay.
Yeah.
It was-
because it wasn't really a cosplay. It was
just like a
me-
vibe dress.
It was just like I want to look like a Batu native.
Yeah.
So I went to Disneyland in like a little it's like a flight suit basically. Like a khaki tan, lots of pockets. I wore extra belts, had like funky eyeliner and like, scraps of fabric in my hair, and that
And
was
you
my
really
Facebook profile
served.
picture for a while. But
And
I guess I didn't really consider that. I was curious for a sec. I was about to like catch you red-handed scrolling
No.
like deep back to 2016 pictures that were posted on Facebook. Because those are the only ones. I only have a few that were me in cosplay on Facebook, and they are ancient. And I might have deleted them because I think the only one I had of me on Facebook is the picture with me with Vic Mignogna. And I was like, oh, that's needs to be scrubbed from the internet forever. And now I'm bringing it up and telling you guys about it. So all
Things that
6
aged
people who are
poorly.
watching tonight.
I mean,
a
I
dirty
admitted to
secret.
having a Soviet flag on my bedroom wall.
You
Lord,
sure did.
so-
Live on
That's-
stream, too.
I feel like those are equally bad.
But yeah,
I grew up
so,
a Tea Party Republican, if that makes you feel better.
as that. So I was scrolling through Facebook, and like I had you, and then I was also going to invite Annalicia, who ended up not being able to do the show because they were launching another show on someone else's channel with them, and then because I'm me, I helped them launch, but then they didn't end up continuing.
No.
I had asked
I remember that.
Esteban if he wanted to be part of this.
But he's so busy because
He
he's
was
got
so
other
busy
like
at the time. Well, because
Yeah.
initially when I was creating this idea in AMDA, Luke said that he wanted to do it.
Oh, Demian?
Tenny.
No
Oh.
shit.
Yeah, so like initially when I
Oh.
started that in AMDA, like Luke was on like the cast list for it, but Luke unadded me on Facebook at some point,
Oh.
so I don't have like contact with them anymore. I still have contact with Anna Maria, which is
I might still be friends with Luke Tenney on Facebook. He
Yeah.
is such a good dude. For those of
He's
you
doing
who
so
don't know,
good.
Luke Tenney has since done shows with like HBO and like all of these really big companies. And truly, you could not have.
Mhm.
If there was anyone at AMDA that I'm really excited to see
Luke,
success, it was him because
100%.
he was so kind and so sweet to.
He-
I mean, he was just one of those dudes, just this big, huge smile on his face.
All
He's
the
such
time.
a good guy, and he went through so much hardship to get to where he
Oh,
was
I
at.
didn't know about that.
I met
and
Luke literally
he-
once, and he was
deserves
something of a
every bit
legend in the New York
success.
City campus.
Yeah,
He's
he's
great.
just a nice guy. So if you happen to be watching a TV show and you see the name Luke Tenney
That's-
grace your television screen, just know that someone excellent, both in talent and in terms of
Just a good
character,
person.
is being
A double threat.
Yeah.
paid. Yeah,
Yeah, but like I said, I wanted to get people that I thought would be generally fun to have, and that if this was successful, are people who I'd want to share in that success. And Luke,
love
good
to have
guy.
Luke Tenney on this show.
It would have been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really it. And then like we started playing the game, and things happened, and like I would like to say we all became very close. Like I think
Oh,
we've
yeah.
become very close,
I guess.
Yeah.
just a bit.
We already
I mean,
live
some
together,
of
so
us-
that's about as.
Some of us in more ways.
Some of us got so close.
Some of us got so close.
Yo.
McKenna, did you just do that on stream? God damn
I don't know. Did I? What did I do?
Can you replicate it for me, Will?
No, I'm not going to.
Why?
Because this is the line. This is the line.
What
I'm
was it?
drawing a line
What
here.
happened?
Just read Batman comics, y'all. But yeah, so like I think like our group here like got really close, and we all like really sort of come together, and like we've had our ups, we've had our downs. I will never make another Arinari.
Oh, I love Daranari.
I also actually liked R&R. I just
Hmm.
by the point that we had crossed the point of no return,
Yeah.
I did not realize we were getting to a point of no return with him. I thought he was going to continue to be like a thorn in our side for the rest of the campaign.
Aw.
He wanted to become a better person.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He's actively taken steps to become a better person.
Being as this is the final wrap-up episode, may I confess something?
Go ahead.
I don't know if these just stand out to me in my memory more, Will, because you do a good job at them, or they were more common than other types of characters. But it seemed to me, especially since Arinari started as almost sort of like an adversary, like an enemy NPC or something, you have a lot of smug NPCs.
I do smug
And
really
smug
well.
NPCs, especially villains, really, really grate my cheese, so to speak.
Really great
Really
my
grate
cheese.
my cheese.
I
Really grate my cheese.
really grinds
Ah.
my gears. Makes me want a hot dog.
Jesus.
I know.
I'm going to ban
I feel it's
that.
like,
I'm going to
oh, I'm
ban
going to be
that
smug
for
as an
Western
invitation for you to
Certainly
punch
try.
me in the face.
podcasts. Well,
It is well known that I dislike elves, and a lot of elves are very smug. So
That feels racially charged, Matthew. Let's dig into that.
into that.
they're just so pretty, and I hate
Let's
them.
unpack that. Oh,
Me.
okay. So that's the root of
That's
it.
the-
I
Yeah.
understand.
I mean, for me, Arinari, I didn't have anything against him specifically. He just literally tortured Nimbus and then was like, "We're friends now, yes?" And she was like,
No.
"Actually, no, we're not.
Actually,
that is
we're
not. That
not.
was not
What do you
particularly
mean
chill
we're
of you.
not?
I don't think."
That was
So-
not
That
particularly
was one of the
chill
best.
of
That
you.
was one of the things that Nimbus had missed, and I have to say, I hindsight being 2020, I
Mhm.
would not damsel Nimbus like that. I would not have damseled. I would not have damseled Nimbus.
It
like
worked
that.
for one of the two, sessions that I couldn't
Yeah.
make.
Also,
It was just a matter of like he never apologized for it. And at least as far as Nimbus saw through the course of the campaign, never made any strides to be the kind of person who would apologize for that.
Did make bomb ass breakfast though.
He made a pretty
That
good
is true.
breakfast. And even I think from Arinari's perspective, the thing is, I don't even know if this was for her benefit. There was the whole Valentine's Day episode,
Yeah, that was for her
and I
benefit.
think
That
from
was-
Will's perspective,
Yeah.
that was Arinari's way of apologizing. I think for me as a person and for
Not for
Nim as a
Arinari's.
character, just doing nice things to butter someone up is not the same as an apology. Especially when the thing that you were doing to butter someone up is mainly for your own entertainment and was not necessarily done with that person's comfort in mind.
Yeah.
So it just got worse.
Arinari thought that would work, and you have to understand that was the beginning of Arinari trying to be better, and he
Aw.
failed spectacularly at it, which I think was really fitting, because it's like, okay, listen, if someone's going to try to be a better person, you're going to fuck up a little bit at the start.
What's wild is that Nimbus told him exactly what she wanted from him, which was like an apology and changed behavior. And he was like, it must be a code.
It must be a code.
No, because you have to understand, Arinari's entire life was, people never actually are straight up with me. It's always
Yes.
lines and veils. And so he was like trying to find the hidden meaning in absolutely everything every one of you said. And that led him
And
astray.
Nimbus was just being straight up with him. Like, you crossed a pretty serious boundary when you kidnapped and tortured me and also used my energy to hurt my friends and also involved imagery of the goddess I worshipped in that torture.
Yeah.
That you've crossed a boundary. So, and I think until his dying breath, never saw that was the issue.
Even as dying breath, like Arinari is no longer with us in campaign 2. Arinari's dead.
Yeah.
Some stuff happened to him. He may have angered a group of very powerful people. And that's all I'm going to say for now.
So true.
But yeah, so Arinari's gone. Arinari's gone and dead. They did their best. And it did not work out. So here was my next one for y'all.
Uh-huh.
Because I know that I have a couple moments for myself, but what are some of your favorite moments of the campaign?
Abby pitting the ooze and the centipede against each other.
Yes!
I mean,
that was a good time.
Peak.
I'm not saying we shouldn't mention it. I'm just saying we should almost disqualify that because it is an easy choice because it was an amazing move that lives in the archives.
The archives.
A literal combat tactic.
And
The
our
sacred
VODs.
texts.
And our VODs on YouTube. I'm pretty sure that one's up.
I want to go back and watch that one and see Will's face.
Especially when he's like, "You're not gonna make me roll this, are you?" And we're all
Yes,
just
we
like,
are.
"Yes, we are."
Yes, we are.
Yeah. And I was like, oh god.
And what a good little time it was for everybody involved, including William Banner.
It was a good time.
You learn to love it eventually.
Yeah. And then Lynx, I think my favorite part of that was Lynx at the end, just being like, Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe!
Just
I've forgotten about
cheeky
that.
little bomb.
I did too! Oh, fuck, that was
my
so
favorite part.
funny.
It's like people say
I
alchemists
knew you
are
had
weak, and
forgotten
then-
about that because you used the remains of that ooze as a monster in the holiday special.
But let's see.
Wild.
So that's one. What are some
From a
other
single
moments?
cell.
What are some of your other moments that you really liked in the campaign? I'll share one of mine right now, actually.
Yes.
And that is the chapel scene between Gwendolyn and Nimbus,
Oh, that was a
where
good
Gwen had been
one.
like full like Avenger mode and was like ready to just be dead, and Nim was like, "Fuck no, bitch."
That's such a
That's exactly what
interesting
she said.
interpretation of Gwendolyn's behavior because to me it read as so deeply suicidal and portraying such a heartbreaking amount like a lack of self-worth
Yeah.
that someone was so convinced of their own lack of importance that they didn't think that even telling someone that they were in this situation was an option that they didn't think that they were worth. I think it was what, like 1,200 gold pieces to res her
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Hmm.
That she
Well,
thought
plus-
that was too much trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
The thing
yeah,
is, she didn't know that it would involve a conference with gods.
Yeah.
She couldn't have known that. You, William Banner, knew that, but Gwendolyn maybe could have guessed that Saren Ray was not going to be thrilled that her gifts had been spurned in such a way, but also free will exists and you can't stop other people from reviving you
and you
for
can't stop the motion.
no good reason.
I mean, isn't there a thing that like the person has to be willing to be resurrected? Or
Yes.
Yes. No, I mean in terms of like you can Saren Ray and Gwendolyn could make that deal and did make that deal, but that deal does not factor in third parties that have their own agenda, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And third parties not being involved in that deal, as far as I'm concerned as a player, I never made a deal with Saren Ray, so Nim can do whatever she wants.
I never made a deal with Saren Ray.
But yeah,
Well, I never.
never.
Gwendolyn's issues of self-worth are so interesting to unpack for me.
Let's not unpack.
Let's
those.
not?
Let's not.
Will
unpack
really said, "Those are
Gwendolyn's
mine,
issues
let's
of
not."
self-work. Those are mine. Let's
Well,
not.
okay, let me put it this way. I think it's interesting in the context of Elisandra having similar issues stemming from wildly different places.
Well,
And the parallels between those two characters and where they might have bonded.
I want that to be a bit of a theme of this campaign. I want like the worth of self to be like a theme, and I think it did end up being a little bit of a theme.
I would agree with that.
Like that was one of the things I wanted to like really touch on, because like during the time when I was creating the campaign, right, we had the pandemic and a lot of people were not feeling the best about themselves. A lot of people were like, oh god, this is going to ruin, and like we're feeling really bad about themselves. And because I am a darn for escapism, I wanted to be like, okay, well let's not have that. Let's have people learn to be okay with themselves and learn to see their self-worth. And that was something that I wanted to do in the campaign. And I think we did that a fair amount with a lot of people. It was nice. I was very happy with it. But that was one of my favorite moments.
I had two moments that happened in the same session around the same time. Like that giant, like 2 magic house rager that Nim threw.
Yep.
I loved seeing the interactions between Lynx and Caleb is the name of the god?
Kayla.
Kaden.
Hayden.
Bad with names. Lynx and Kaden. I loved their like odd little friendship that they had and like bonding over alcohol. I
It was
also
cute.
really loved the Garl and Drevrin interaction where they were trying to beat the shit out of each other.
You're with
Well-
my ex, you prick.
Let's be honest. He was more flailing on Drevlin's side.
Yeah, he was
True.
certainly trying, but
Just doing his best.
That was
we never really
100%.
got to see Drevrin fight. It was heavily implied that he was like a paladin of Saren Ray. And is he still?
No.
Damn.
He's technically lost his champion abilities.
Is that because he took a vow of chastity?
No,
Perhaps?
it's not, because he's not Johnny No Spells.
Oh, Daddy.
Fuck off.
What the
No.
fuck?
He
It's fantasy high. I know what they're talking about.
he traded he lost his connection. He lost his levels as a champion the moment he put on the crown.
Really? Oh, because the crown was fucking evil. Yeah, Saren Ray probably wouldn't have liked that.
He lost his moment. the
Saren
moment he
Ray
put on the
didn't like
crown,
that.
and that crown
Saren Ray has high standards.
slowly but surely became his downfall.
Interesting. How so?
Uh-oh, Drevlin's legacy is gonna be a problem in campaign 2, maybe.
No, the crown has been dealt with by y'all. Well, by Nimbus.
What did I do?
You talked to Drevlin about it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the crown is kind of lost to time right now, but in Drevrin's case, like, he put on that crown. He, instead of following his ideals and instead of following his own ideals, he wanted quick and easy solutions.
Yeah.
And those quick and easy solutions ultimately led to the downfall of the Opal Empire. Because as he continued to progress down that path, he became less liked as a ruler. He lost a person who a lot of the people were seeing as like a beacon of hope for them in Abby, in Cassandra. Like, a lot of the people, the Opal Empire, are like, yeah, this is going to be good for our king. He has someone who is like a good person at his side. And then the second she left him, everyone in the populace immediately thought, oh, there's no hope for this man.
Oof.
And so that
Ruh-roh.
That's rough.
unstabilized it. And yeah, he just kept working hard. He kept going for these short solutions. He kept trying to find short-term gains of power, short-term things, and it eventually cost him his kingdom.
Yeah. From Nimbus's perspective, I can tell you that was a hard thing to watch because I've on multiple occasions would be like, do you want to communicate about what's happening? Do we have a plan? Do we want to collaborate on this? Like, I've bore my heart to you. Can we have a conversation about it? And he didn't want to.
Not to quote pop culture a little bit too much, but I do recall a good line from the first Black Panther movie. Like, you are a good man with a good heart, and it is hard for a good man to be a king.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
The trouble is, he wasn't necessarily a good man. He was infallible. That was the thing. Drevrin was created from a place of that slow pull to one's own downfall. I had made Drevrin with the idea of, okay, if things don't change for this man, we are going to see him become fully destroyed. And if you've played Dragon Age, think very similar to, like, if Alistair doesn't become king, and you get to see him as, like, a big old drunkard in Dragon Age 2, and, like, the huge bad ending for Alistair. A lot of that, like, idea, like, sort of character artwork. And if you think about how Drevin worked, and if you played Dragon Age, you know that Drevin was actually very similar to Alistair in some ways, because Drevin had a lot of parallels to that character, because they were one of my favorite characters from that series, and I thought their story was really interesting, and I wanted to take my hand at telling a story like it. But yeah,
He was not a great decision maker.
it was not.
Swooping is bad. Matthew, do you care to elaborate?
It's a line from Dragon Age that Alistair
Is
says.
it really?
Yes, that Alistair says.
What did you think I was referencing?
Swooping is bad.
Cards Against Humanity.
No, that's a line.
Oh,
from
there's a
Dragon
card
Age.
about swooping that I believe means swimming and pooping.
Yeah.
Shocker, I actually really don't like Cards Against Humanity.
It gets stale after a while.
Gross.
Also, because it's just so freaking random. Like, I could think I have the most clever combination of things, but because the person who's the judge at the time doesn't like it, I don't get points. I'm like, ooh, frustrates me.
Oh, so you don't like that people have opinions.
Or else when
I
people...
like there to be predictable structures, because you remember, guys, my actual real life alignment is probably lawful good.
Or else when
probably.
you're at
I'm a
party,
square.
and you're at a party with like people who are like all close group of friends, and you're kind of like new to it, and they're like, yeah, let's play Cards Against Humanity or something close to it, and you're just like, huh, I don't know any of you well enough to make funny things. I guess I'm going to shoot in the dark. That's happening.
Right,
so
like
many
what is
times.
everyone's humor level? Because if you're
Yeah.
playing to win, the game is not how to be funny. The game is what do these people think are funny.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
that's a different game.
Yes. Anyway, though, other favorite moments of the campaign. We got one from Abby. Cooper, you got one?
I was pretty much on board with the Oh my god, the moment where Abby turned those two basically bosses against each other, and we just kind of avoided an encounter.
And I was just like,
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
Work
literally.
smarter, not harder.
yeah, and I was just like, yeah, okay, here we go. And honestly, at that moment, I was like, okay, I want them to do these fights, but at the same time, if I don't yes and this, I think McKenna will fly to Canada and smack me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I would have joined her, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what, let's do it. It's just two cool boss encounters, that's fine. We'll get more boss encounters. This doesn't need to be fighty all the time. Let's just do it. This makes sense. And so, like, I kind of went along with that. I was like, you know what, this was fun. They really enjoyed it. That's what matters. I was like,
Yeah.
at some
We
point,
still got a
at-
Baba Yaga in the basement.
At some point, y'all will
Exactly.
fight one of those creatures. At some point. If only there was in campaign 2, like, a group of people directly connected to, say, like, the first world that I could pull this enemy from.
Teehee.
Oh well. Who knows? But
I think top tier moments for me besides that, I think the moments that I look back on fondly were moments where I could tell immediately, like, ooh, this has the potential to be really fun, and then it was. The second one was Garl picked up Cassandra and Abby immediately was like, I'm going to make this very, very gay. And I could see it then. We were in the dungeon for, I
Not even being subtle
believe
about
it
that.
was
yeah.
Order?
Yep.
It might have been
Yes.
Control, actually. It was Control. And we were hot stepping it out of the Control dungeon, and Garl just like whoop, hoisted Cassandra, and Abby was like, Cassandra? Blushes a little bit. And I was like, I see what you're doing. Fascinatingly, Will didn't. It was months later where I was like I was like, I am curious to see what Abby does, because I think she's going for Garl. I don't think she's gonna go through with Trevor. And Will was like, what? And I was like,
What are you
have
talking
you
about?
not
No, as
noticed?
we
And Will was
know-
like, no.
As we all know, I have a very difficult time telling when someone is a lesbian.
Oh
Yeah.
no, it
It's okay,
extended
so do I.
all the way to the campaign. Oh no.
And I could tell right then and there, I was like, this is gonna be fun. I can also pinpoint the exact moment where, like, I was fully ensnared mentally into this game, and that was the tournament arc where I had been working so hard to be not found out, and we ended the session on, hey Nimbus. And
Yeah.
when I knew that Alessandra had somehow found out Nim's identity, that was the moment where I was like, how did she do it? What is going on? Also,
Fuck you.
she's
Will.
hot, maybe?
So true,
And I was like,
bestie.
there's so much potential here, and it's so interesting. And then it was. So those were moments for me that I look back on fondly, because it was the very start of something that had such a cathartic conclusion.
Yeah, the moment you and Alessandra like were in a room together, like fuck you. I was like, fuck each other though.
Fuck each other.
Which time? Which
Which
time,
time?
honestly?
From
Do
the
it yourself, you
first
coward.
moment.
Because there was the moment where Alessandra dragged Nim to Gwendolyn's restaurant and was like, I'm going to blackmail you. And Nimbus was like, blackmail who? Me? I don't know what you're talking about.
Literally.
And then there was the time where they got in the argument about
This never came up.
Gwendolyn.
This never came up, but Alessandra taking you to that restaurant is what she considers your first date.
Aww.
You're kidding. That was not a
I knew
romantic
it.
gesture from her. That was her trying to blackmail me.
Yeah. I think she
Um,
says it as like a joking way. It's like, oh yeah, it's our first
Yes.
date.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
tried to blackmail you. But like, yeah, I think like that's how her humor works. And it never came up because you're like we never talked, like it just never came up, so I never got to make that goof. But like I've had it in the back of my mind for ages that like if
Aw.
people ever asked, she would just be like, oh yeah, I took her to Gwendolyn's restaurant and I blackmailed her.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Romantic.
I mean,
Just glossing over the fact that she didn't take me anywhere. It was via powerful enchantment that I was commanded to go there and did not happen.
what? I mean, what is a date without a little bit of blackmail? Not fun.
Yeah.
What is free will, really?
What is
free
free
What,
will?
what is free will?
Hi, I'm Will. But yeah,
But are you free?
no.
On Tuesdays.
$9.99.
Matt, did you have a favorite moment?
So, I have a lot of favorite moments from the campaign. Obviously, the slime monster one was also, as I said, for the archives. Mwah. I also enjoyed the clutch in just like 3 episodes ago, in the midst of the fight, the like counter spell or negation. I can't remember the exact spell, but it was like
Nullify.
nullify. That was
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
as someone who has often forgotten kind of like counter moves at times in games, I appreciated that immensely.
She's waiting to use that.
But one of the things that has stuck out in my mind is mildly masochistic. There was the first time we got put in a sort of like dream world where things were sort of great for certain characters, where Cassandra had to use the kind of shutdown phrase for Garl, and Garl just said, I thought you would never hurt me. And
Yeah.
admittedly,
Slaying.
that's something I did, so it seems a little like I'm tooting my own horn for favorite moments there, but it was an
Worth a toot.
opportunity. Yeah. I think about that one a lot.
I think we've had like a lot of really strong RP moments in this game, and I'm really happy about that. But granted, like when you have a cast of professional actors
And me.
and
Matt.
I would say you'd be a very good improviser.
I always did like going to improv shows.
We should go to the D&D show together this year.
Actually, man, but I know people. I know people like on my Facebook friends list who go every year and they camp out in line and everything. And
I did that in high school. I really loved it. I really enjoyed that show. It was another reason why I wanted to do this, because like I really liked that improv show that happens once a year in Winnipeg, and I know a whole bunch of the people in it. Like 3 of them were people who taught me how to do improv in high school, so I was like I simped for that show so hard. Like,
wait, you can't use that word on Twitch, Will.
oh yes I can. Like to the point where I have stolen from the gas station theater, sitting behind my desk, like one of like the old posters.
That's kind of cool. Wait, is that supposed to be Tiamat or is that just a Hydra?
I think it was just a Hydra.
Okay.
But it's like back when Pendragon still existed. Oh, God, I miss Pendragon. John, if you're watching this, because I know you're on Facebook, I miss you. You're amazing, and I hope you're doing well.
I think it was a hobby store here in Winnipeg for those not in the know.
Yeah, it was. It was where I started playing Magic the Gathering.
I think that's where my brother bought an absurd pair of brass dice that would kill someone if you threw them at them.
Yes.
They're very heavy.
All right. But I think, chat, if you're here in the Twitch chat, you have any questions about the campaign, NPCs, character questions, let me know.
Favorite foods
Let me
of
know
the
if you have
characters.
thoughts. Wow, an hour 13. Oh, by the way, the longest that we got for without talking about food in a session, 1 hour 45 minutes.
Mhm.
Was
I'm
that early
amazed that
on?
you've really kept that track.
I have it written
That's
down.
amazing.
I think for the next one, I'm going to export the chat data before our wrap-up campaign. I'm going to find every natural 20 and tell us how many natural 20s we had.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because we can do
Our
that
very
once.
own tabletop roll stats.
Yeah. Or hey, chat, if you want to make a tabletop roll stats wiki. Why was Shy always trying to derail everything, and why did you never let her? This is a difficult one
True.
to answer. Shy, very much when she's playing a game, likes to purposely try to be a chaotic influence in the world.
Push the boundaries, perhaps.
And if you let Shy do so, it can get to the point where it reaches like deck of many things level of ability to destroy a campaign.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I love Shy. Shy is great. but there were many groups. There were many groups that I wasn't even running. There were many groups in general that Shy's antics have destroyed. So I tried to keep it a little bit reined in for the stream, just so that it wouldn't kill the group. But, like,
Literally and metaphorically.
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why. That was why. Love her to bits, but yeah, she might be coming back too. Apparently.
What did I miss?
If you could play any NPC, which one would you have chosen?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I did choose, and I chose Gwendolyn.
Oh, that's
Um,
true. Yeah.
I think I also would have liked to take a crack at Alessandra,
Or-
probably during her summoner phase.
I
might
really
have-
enjoyed playing. Was it Dominique?
Veronique.
Something.
Veronique.
Veronique.
Veronique. It was Veronique.
It was Veronique. Yes, I really.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing Veronique. I had a lot of fun making her my own.
I would have liked to play Aranari for one session.
Oh, this is what I was going to. This is what I was going to reveal to you, Abby. Abby, when you became a sorcerer, when we went back in time, that is the build that I made when you wanted me to make a build for the princess from Atlantis.
Princess
Aw.
Kita!
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love it!
So that was that build leveled up to 20. And I was like, oh, Abby will enjoy this. I'll reveal it to her in the wrap up. But you played the Princess Kita build there.
Aww.
I love
Why was
Princess Kita so much.
Why was Shy always trying to derail everything? You know what's so funny about someone for posterity? Mark in chat has asked, why was Shy always trying to derail everything, and why did you never let her? I will tell you something that Shy has told to me, so I feel relatively comfortable speaking on her behalf for this.
Mhm.
It wasn't an attempt to derail things so much as it was an attempt to just keep things moving in any manner possible, whether it was moving in the opposite direction that some people wanted it to go, or whether it was moving in the direction that I think maybe Will had intended the story to go. That was of no matter. It was just to keep
Keep it
things
going.
moving and to keep things as interesting as possible, because she has explained this perspective to me when it comes to tabletop RPGs, how she doesn't,
Never told me
she
this.
categorically loathes talking and strategizing and would rather just do the thing and like be badasses and like get into fights. So that I think was a big part of her philosophy in terms of just playing in tabletops in general. And I think if she were here, she would probably tell you as much. And why did we never? I can only speak for myself on this one. And the reason in character why I couldn't let her is because that was just not something that Nimbus could abide by. Hi, Pepper. Pepper is back here in the shadow. She's mad because I'm snuggling my Rowlet. This is the last time I get to do this. So
Oh, it is. You
are
can
just going to have
you can
to...
snuggle that Rowlet whenever you want.
It's
Not
the
true.
same. It's not the same anymore.
Merle is very happy that Nimbus made them exist.
Yeah, and now Merle is by proxy also immortal. So mwah,
That's true,
everybody gets
huh?
a smack from Merle.
Mhm.
Isn't that such a comforting thought?
That is a comforting thought.
Like
I
a
love
pet
that.
that
The
Merle
pet that
just
never
gets to...
dies.
I wasn't gonna say it. But yeah, just little soft boy, little soft friendly boy.
For the time that Chip was around, he tried to sort of corral Ray because it was his job. He was supposed to be their, teacher and kind of chaperone and guardian and stuff. So he wanted to, he was honest in that, like that letter I wrote when Chip split off from the group and Carl came in, where he thought Ray has the potential to do great things and stuff, and that she just needed to, rely on her friends more and everything. Like, Chip believed that Ray had the potential to do good. Like, admittedly, Chip believes that about most people who aren't annoying ghosts. So, he's got that teacher mindset. He thinks, everyone can, I'm not going to say be redeemed because that seems a little condescending, but be a more, not a better version of themselves, but be more than they are currently.
And so, another peek behind the curtain. One of the reasons why Matt was one of the first people who I wanted on this show was because I knew they know the system, and I knew that most of the other people would not know the system, so I
still
wanted
don't.
someone else to help.
You fooled all of us, Abby. Some clutch plays and excellent use of spells.
Nah, Abby.
Leveling
Abby
up was still
already-
always a challenge.
Me too, buddy. It's okay. This was my first time leveling in Pathfinder 2,
Yeah.
and it was not easy to get
It was not
into.
easy.
I'm still not sure I did it right. Like,
We will take it much slower for the next game. We will go much slower
Oh,
on
I'm
our
not saying
levels
it's a
up.
bad thing. It was just like scary.
Yeah.
I think this is actually also my first time hitting level 20.
Yeah. Oh wait. Here's the question: is that who's level 20 first time is this? Let me know. Like going from like 1 to 20.
in
Yeah,
Pathfinder,
100%.
yes.
Yes.
It was a reminder, forever DM over here. So
Yeah.
In D&D, no, actually.
Sure.
But I had just finished a 1 to 20 D&D campaign while we were doing this one.
Nice. But yeah.
Was that with your changeling?
Yes, it was. I love
Yes.
Lyracy so much. And she is the main character of the book I will be finishing by the end of the week.
Nice.
Yes. By the end of the week.
By the end of the week, I think I'll be done with the first draft.
Oh, congratulations.
Awesome. Okay.
I have a question actually.
What you got?
Which is we actually never got a little epilogue for Professor Chip.
That
So
was a
what does
question.
Chip spend the rest of his little mouse life doing?
This little mouse life.
here's
Rat
the
life.
thing. I really do think Chip is the kind of guy who would, for good or for ill, make his job his life. Like, he will never retire. I don't know if he is technically immortal by being a Duskborn, but he will never retire. He will just die on the job. He might probably immediately after the conclusion of the campaign take a little sabbatical just for some self-reflection after everything that happened with the person in the basement, which I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain right now. That was almost sort of accidental. I didn't realize so much time was passing, and it just turned into a war crime without me meaning to. So,
Oops.
but I kind of ran with it. So.
Somebody clip that and please make it a GIF. Somebody
Sometimes
please.
you just
Oops,
accidentally
war
commit
crime.
a cheeky little war crime. I didn't do it on purpose.
As the tree.
These things happen.
Things
God.
happen.
Yes.
That's why I named that one spell Oopsie Nooksy.
We've all made mistakes, okay? We've all made mistakes.
I think the
except-
only person to
except
not
maybe Garl.
commit. I think the only person who hasn't committed a war crime in this party is Nimbus.
Goody two shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah,
making
like,
us all
I
look
mean-
bad.
if we're going with the Geneva Convention,
Jesus Christ.
Did Garl commit a war crime? I mean, other than, I don't know, did she torture anyone? I don't think so.
no.
I don't think so, because Garl has that whole thing about. Well, I guess.
Well, she
it's
can't
like torturing
desecrate
someone or not.
bodies. If
Remember
they're still
the-
alive,
the-
she can beat the shit out of them. Pardon my French.
No.
You're
How
not
dare you.
pardoned.
But yeah, so
Oh, well.
Okay. So that was one thing.
Yeah.
Here's my new question for y'all as well.
Okay.
What are you hoping for more of in campaign 2?
Oh.
Shenanigans.
Yes, took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, actually, shenanigans.
Shenanigans?
I think we have shenanigans planned already without saying too much for the audience, but McKenna and I have ideas. Things even that we plan to do.
I think I want more personal stakes.
Okay.
High stakes are good. World-ending stakes are fun, but personal stakes.
I think I'm going to stick to more character-driven stuff because, like, having to up the ante every time with the bosses in League of Amazing
It's
Adventurers
hard.
was really
Yeah.
exhausting. I was like, okay, first
Yeah.
things
I could-
first.
I could kind of tell after a certain point that you were like,
Plus, I think there's only so many times you can raise the stakes. It's the Buffy issue. You know what I mean? There's only so many times the world can end we're watching the same train derail with Umbrella Academy, where it's like, Jesus Christ, how many times can you do this and still have it be entertaining that the world is ending?
Yeah.
Gotta keep the stakes more intimate, more personal.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever hit that point with this campaign where, like, with Buffy, it's like, Jesus Christ, it's season 7.
Oh, I see. I
And
felt
it's-
like I hit that point. I felt like I hit that point in about halfway through the war arc. I felt like I hit that point. And this is going to be a peek behind the curtain for me. There was a point where I had so many loose plot threads happening in this game that I had a legitimate panic attack.
I recall you saying that to me.
And I was like, oh god, how the hell am I going to wrap these up? And I managed to wrap up most of them. I was very happy with myself, but
I tip my hat to you because I would have been probably personally happy to let a certain amount dangle freely at the end, but
I feel bad asking because I know Abby has put a question in chat, but I
Good question.
do want to ask, are there any things that didn't get resolved that you were looking to get resolved?
I want to resolve Malachor a little bit more than Malachor was resolved.
Yeah.
That was one thing. I want Malachor to I want Malachor's life to be seen, and that might happen in campaign 2 a little bit.
Interesting.
some,
I'm
like-
shocked he'll live that long.
a dynasty.
It won't be Malachor himself, but his deeds might live on. And we'll get to
Oh,
hear
I hope
about
they
those.
are good deeds.
We're gonna raid his tomb. And
The
we have
worst
no
part is
connection.
Honeywood, and I'm just gonna have to
We
sit
have
there
no
and cry
connection
about
to
it.
him. Why would we
Yeah.
care?
Yeah. But yeah, so like with Malachor, I would have liked to closed up that one a little bit more neatly than I did.
I was
And-
also hoping to get more time with him.
But to be honest with you, Malachor was initially when I built Malachor, I thought Malachor was going to get murdered by the party.
Stunning.
Like I was expecting Malachor to be a boss to get killed, but McKenna and you all and like the party decided we're going to deprogram this lad, and it.
I mean, I was
The
willing
correct
to beat him
opinion, I
up.
think.
Yeah.
I was willing to beat him up.
This little lad.
It was initially he was going to be like a really cool dual wielding boss who wore like a black trench coat military uniform. It was
God, you were gonna Kirito us.
kind of Kirito.
Shut
I
up!
mean,
You're so
Malachor-
right. I hate it.
Malachor's build is the Kirito build.
That literally made me physically nauseous. I just felt my stomach flip flop.
Sorry. But yeah, so
I'm
it
sure if I
was-
knew anything about anime,
See,
I would
Will,
be disgusted.
sometimes you would be. It's true.
You would
Sometimes
be.
you can make a smarmy character that we want to help and that we like.
Yes.
See, it's not just our like
Huh.
Arinari was an isolated incident.
Yeah. But I tried to so I initially thought Malachor was going to just be a mini boss that you all killed.
No.
And then I was
He's
going to
just
do
a
the reveal, be
baby.
like, ha 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 ha, and then watch like
This
the
was your
turmoil-
brother.
Watch the turmoil happen from there, and
Sister,
Oh.
why?
that would have been really cool. But Nimbus and the rest of the party gathered some information. We're like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can save this person instead of having to kill him. I was like, great, let's go with
Yeah.
that. And I'm really happy it went that way. But yeah, I kind of want to explore that character a little bit more. I really like them. Mechanically, I want to play Malachor at some point in a game.
I kind of love that.
He's such a sweet boy.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
All right, so Malachor you would have spent more time with.
I would have spent more time with Malachor, and the only other plot thread that I'm a little bit sad I didn't fully close up was there was a little bit more Link stuff that I wanted to do that I didn't get to.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
The missing
yeah.
links.
There was a
The
little
androids
bit...
in general.
Links to the past.
Yeah, the androids are one of the panic attack inducing plot threads.
Really?
Yeah. Because I was like, oh
I
god.
believe it.
Oh god.
I mean, there's a lot of ways that could have expanded into a whole thing on itself. It's an entire
What was the
population of
plan
people.
for them originally? Because I remember you saying like, "Oh, this is gonna have like."
So originally they were going to become a workforce for you, in the second half of the campaign. Like, I was going to do more base building stuff, but I couldn't make the base building stuff work. So initially they were going to be like, if you've played RTSs, they were basically going to be your worker orcs, like, job done, work.
Work.
Work. Job
Me not
done.
that kind of orc.
Oh,
Stop
no.
poking me.
You must construct additional pylons. Like, they were going to be
Jesus Christ.
They were going to be like, just like a workforce for the party's base.
And then at one point, one of
Oh.
them will ask us, "Does this unit have a soul?"
What is
And then
my
we have to
purpose?
kill them all.
To serve butter. Oh,
Oh my god.
Oh.
But yeah, so initially they were going to be a workforce, but then my brain was like, Will, you can't make a autonomous group of people into a workforce. I was like, that's very true, Will. Okay.
You've got a point, Will.
Yeah. I was like, let's not do that, Will. And so I didn't do that.
Valid.
I was like, there we go. But yeah, so the androids is one of them. I wanted to do that a little bit more. I wanted to put a little bit more of a bow tie on Link's story than we did.
About.
I don't know.
It's okay.
I would probably, but to put that bow tie on Link's story, it would be like a solid 2 sessions of nothing but talking with Links and arguing
Yeah.
with Links. And
honestly, I don't mind where it wound up. I
Yeah.
think that Lynx as a character is quite honestly not very interesting. I was going for kind of like a vibe, and the vibe was complete by the middle of the campaign, actually.
really,
Lynx is uninteresting. I just think that he doesn't emote and he doesn't speak on his feelings.
Reserved.
Often.
I think he acts on his feelings. That was actually a whole, like,
Yes, but he doesn't necessarily communicate with them, and that
Mhm.
can be
yeah, that can be difficult.
yeah.
hard to button up non-verbally. But I think Lynx is a very interesting character.
Lots of
You're
potential
sweet.
there.
Yeah, there's a lot there for Lynx. But yeah, so
But also-
It's not
I-
nice to lie.
I think he's interesting, but also I've sat where you've sat where I've played characters that are quiet and not particularly emotive. And then it came to a point in campaign where I was like, if I was playing a different character, they'd be like, they would have things to say about this, but this is not that character. And after playing that character, I didn't play another character like that because I wanted to be able to be reactive and
Yeah,
in
like,
scenes like that.
Christine is going to be a completely different concept than
ton of
Lynx.
fun.
I'm
and-
so excited.
There's nothing wrong with Lynx, I think, but
Oh,
it
no.
is, different.
Yeah.
I think that and I apologize for heading off of Abby's question, and we'll go to it next. But I think that this is going to be a very interesting change of pace, because for this first campaign, I feel like we had some pretty strong archetypal characters.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And based on what I know about the second campaign, we're kind of breaking out of that. We're breaking out of that a
Certain
fair amount from what people have told me and pitched to me. Like, Zoe is bringing a hell of a character, y'all.
Yeah. I'm
Just
excited.
Slay.
just wait for Zoe's character. You're going to love them. Also a fetchling.
Possibly. These are two different characters.
Yes.
No, Zoe's character is a fetchling.
I thought-
No.
I thought
Shy's character
Yeah,
is a
that's
fetch-
Shy was
Zoe is also playing a fetchling.
two
Nice.
fetchlings.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that'll be fun. Like, Abby's character is going to be very interesting to see. Matt's character is going to be a bit of a slow burn, so hopefully he doesn't chip me.
Wow.
Jesus Christ, William.
Wow. Matthew,
Wait, hold
what is
on.
your response?
Wait, hold on.
What is your response?
Or I guess
Say that again.
I was saying Matt's character is going to be a bit of a slow burn, so hopefully he doesn't chip or kill Rog me.
Okay. I have a bit of a history of changing characters, but to be fair, I do that for the group often.
Also, I think you were getting a little bored with Chip.
Chip's rotation was a little samey. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I felt like I wasn't contributing enough in combat half the time.
That's fair.
But I'm also very much looking forward to just being able to sort of like RP a bit more with this character, who I haven't come up with necessarily if I'm going to do a last name yet, but the character's name is Lorgar.
Lorgar.
He is a kind of a desert, well, originally a swamp lizard folk who went to live in the desert. That was a transition for him, believe me. Lots of skin care, or scale care, so to speak.
It does scale
And
well.
compared to everything else you guys have ever seen me play on this channel, just in terms of the RP, he's going to be very different.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm going to be digging down into a part of myself that I keep buried, and now I'm going to let just go.
That character's
excited.
arc is going to be a
That's
bit of a
exciting.
slow burn, but it's going to be a very
I
good
like
burn.
that though.
I have a scheme.
I know you have a scheme, and I'm going to help you with
Yeah.
that scheme.
How many of you will fall prey to my manipulations, I wonder?
We'll find out.
Interesting.
Then of course we have Shy, who's thinking about coming back as a rogue. Which rogues are
That
for-
time
Feel
I
all
got
the
reincarnated as a rogue.
for
Shut
chat.
up.
For chat, rogues are the most overpowered class in PF2.
To a certain extent.
Yes, the thief rogue is the most overpowered class in PF2.
Lots of skills.
Oh, no.
Lots of skills and lots of damage output. And then we have McKenna, who's going to be playing a gunslinger. Hey McKenna, just out of curiosity, have you decided what you're going to take for your free archetype yet?
No,
Okay.
it's so exciting. Chat, help me out here. Do I do sniping duo or unexpected? Here, I'll put up a poll for all 7 of you. I'll
Yeah,
put
you
up a
have
poll.
the modding ability to do that.
For the
I
purposes of
do.
chat, I think that McKenna should do sniping duo because we're going to be sisters and we're going to be little partners that fight together.
Sisters.
So
Sisters, there were never such devoted sisters.
Mm.
Never had to have a chaperone, no sir. That's going
And they
to
were
happen
roommates.
at some point.
I thought they were roommates.
Have
Have you guys ever seen-
related? We may be doing a western, but we're not going to go that deep south.
Ew.
Deep home Alabama.
God, now I just want to do like the Benoit Blanc accent for my character.
Oh,
Benoit Blanc.
But in all seriousness,
Spio shot from myself.
friends,
Hmm
Abby's question: if you could,
Yeah.
where do you think your character would go when you first created them?
I got
What-
an answer for this.
What are your thoughts? Let's start with Matt. I'm curious.
I have more of thoughts for where they're going to go for Garl than I did for Chip. I wasn't sure where we were going to go for Chip, honestly.
I
I just,
wasn't either.
yeah. The concept was a little stronger, maybe,
It was
than
a
the
good
execution.
concept, but it was it took a little bit of time to get going.
Interestingly enough, and this might be just me being a drama queen for Garl, where I saw Garl going as a character was like suffering. I almost kind of
Aw.
expected Garl's condition to actually noticeably get worse as the campaign got on. I expected her to start losing more memories, having the crystals like give her more abilities, but also making her more monstrous.
There's a
Like-
reason
Mm.
I toned that down a little bit,
oh,
and it is largely personal, I'm afraid.
Fair enough.
But during the course of this campaign, I had a number of family members slowly pass,
Mm.
and
That is true.
I think I unconsciously stepped back from that concept for Garl a little bit just because of everything that was happening in my own life.
That's very fair. Well, and if you ever feel like I am edging into something that you're not comfortable with,
It wasn't
Just
that
tell
I was
me.
uncomfortable. I think it was just like my head subconsciously like stepped back from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway.
I don't know. I likes a good tragedy.
I prefer Sins personally.
I chime in.
Ha
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Closing the goddamn door.
Right.
Anyway,
Well, haven't you people ever heard of?
Yeah.
Closing the goddamn
That was my
door.
answer. Garl didn't plan for happiness.
Aw, Carl.
Hold on, what's that?
Girl.
It says the line for something. Oh, it's from The Mask of the Phantasm, where Batman breaks down crying at his parents' graves, like, I never planned on being happy. Like, Batman, first year of his career or something, he's all prepared to, be this, dedicated crime fighter. And then Bruce Wayne falls in love and he gets so horribly conflicted because he's like, I promised to avenge you, but I never planned on being happy.
Aw.
That is such a good movie. The writer just passed away.
F.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aw.
their legacy is secured.
Nice. What about you,
I'm
McKenna?
glad. I'm just glad Carl got her happy ending personally. I think
What are you
for
gonna do?
me-
Eat me? Chomp.
Cassandra maybe.
Yeah.
For Nim, I think interestingly, something that I think might be like a interesting tidbit for chat is that originally Nim's personality was going to be a lot more like Cassandra's. And since we were both playing oracles, I think when I saw that was the direction that Abby was going, I pivoted a little bit. And leaned. Originally, she was going to be very bookish, and was going for like the shy and bookish angle. And I think I leaned just a little bit more into less bookish and more just like she's young and insecure, and is actively trying to find her way in the world and failing more often than not. But honestly, I wasn't seeing a romance for this character, but that's not true. Actually, originally I had seen a romance with her with Beatrix.
Oh.
Mm.
Yes, I remember
Do we
that.
remember Beatrix?
I do remember
Vaguely.
Beatrix, literally so vaguely.
Nimbus
Yeah.
had the fattest crush on her, but like the undeniable chemistry with Alessandra was so much more fun. Also, I love an enemies to lovers. I think my original plan for this character, because how did you phrase the question? Where did you think your character would go when you first created them? I just wanted them to be really gay.
That
And
was
maybe do crimes.
And like probably not do crimes because it's Nimbus.
Hindsight 2020 should have been like the first.
Yes. And that was because at the time I was exploring the possibility that like I might not be bisexual. I just might not be interested in men at all. And I was like, this character is going to be that way.
Pilot
And-
program.
Yeah, we're gonna take it for a test drive.
McKenna, this is a
Um,
joke. This is a joke. This is purely a joke. Did I shoot
speak on it.
Did I shoot myself in the foot with Alessandra then?
No,
Okay.
it was gonna be what it was. So funny story. January of 2020, Natalie Wynn ContraPoints drops her shame video, and I watch it twice in a single sitting, back to back, with my
And
jaw
she
on the floor,
cries.
and I crying, and thinking I think I'm really gay. And then I was like, okay, here's the plan. I'm gonna get out there, gonna put myself out there, get on the dating apps, get out to the clubs, get out to all of that good stuff. That was January of 2020.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
yeah, it was.
So that
R.I.P.
plan went about as well as it could be possibly have gone. So Beatrix was part of my initial pitch to Will for this character is
Yeah.
like, I want this noble character who is really disillusioned with her life, who is falling for this kind of working class herbo
Is that a
mechanic.
term?
Yeah.
it is
Herbal?
now.
It is
It
now.
is now.
I'm learning so much
Um,
today.
And that's kind of what I wanted for this character. And I would say that the mission accomplished.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
pretty gay.
She was there.
I mean, doubly gay is other
Doubly gay.
characters.
I would say
Gay-
critical success.
Gay and Polly.
Yeah.
Gay and Polly.
Um,
Wow, Nim, why do you get to have They don't know
How
that
come you
meme.
get pretty GFs?
Elisandra
Wow.
Hey! Hey!
Elisandra learned shrink.
Oh,
uses it on Gwen.
stop,
Now you're a Polly
stop.
Pocket.
Okay, I'm glad that's where you were
Polly
going.
That
Yep.
took a wholesome turn.
No,
I
it's
was
Polly
scared.
Pocket. Where did you
Let's
think that
just
was
sail
going to
by
go?
what we thought he was saying. You know,
I'm not
that's
going
what we
to address
thought.
that
Yeah,
on
let's
Nope.
not address that on
Nope.
stream. Let's not. I don't want to learn about this on stream. But yeah.
I mean,
Both
we've
had to
all
bring-
seen the Ant-Man comic.
God almighty.
Oh God, I
Oh,
was
God.
thinking of that. I didn't know anyone would reference.
That's what I thought. That's the direction I thought. Well, anyway.
No, why would you think?
Uh,
Why would you assume that's the direction I would go with it? You know what? No fair.
I hate it here.
Yeah, I mean, that
Was either
question
that
answers
or
itself.
Yeah. Stop.
Exactly, Matthew. Thank
last
you.
thing, we had to bring it up one more time.
You'll bring
Also,
it up
Will,
in the
men-
next campaign.
Also, is there a breath weapon in this particular episode? There has to be.
There's not a breath weapon in this
Kill me.
campaign, in this episode, and there's not really going to be anything that I could see having a breath weapon in the second campaign for a while.
Oh.
No dragons with a
Intriguing.
cowboy hat.
No dragons with a cowboy hat.
What about Nim's topiary dragon?
No, that one's.
I
one's
love a
doing
good
its own thing.
topiary dragon.
They're still kicking.
Yeah, they're still kicking.
What about you, Abby? What was your?
How
Oh,
gay did you see Cassandra?
weirdly enough, so when I first pitched Cassandra to Will, I wanted something for her to like be searching for other than just being on the run from Treladar and like seeing the world for the first time. I was like, yeah, experiencing that's gonna be like great for her and really cool and learning about the world outside for the first time. But I wanted something for her to be looking for. So I threw the idea of like one of the things that made her want to run was seeing that portrait of her first life self with who would end up being Ragnaphon.
Right.
So seeing this like person that was looking at her like so fondly in this picture, she wanted to figure out who they were, what they were to her, and I thought it was going to be some like long lost love romance thing that was going to happen. I thought whoever this person was in the picture would end up being like so sweet and kind of they finally find each other again. Nope.
Rip.
R.I.P. that.
I'm sorry.
Rip.
But like totally worked out. I love how it ended up.
Yeah, I was very happy with Reg. So okay, so
Reggie?
initially,
Raggy.
chat. Going back all the way to the beginning of the notes.
Oh, the notes.
Here was the original story of the League of Amazing Adventurers.
Oh, I do remember this.
I don't.
I think I only ever told this to McKenna.
Yeah.
Probably.
So the OG story of the League of Amazing Adventurers was Instruments of Woe happened the way it was going to happen. Then after Instruments of Woe, we were going to get to watch the world rebuild a bit and be helping with that, just kind of doing pulp adventures around the world, slowly putting the pieces into this like weird light god, this like being of pure light. That was going to be the final boss. And then the final was going to be Weird Light God. So when Abby gave me that little toy to play with, I was like, oh, I can connect
There's the
it
god.
like this. There's the god.
Uh-oh.
They use their girlfriend as essentially a magical conduit to ascend, and it caused the
Ooh.
Magicard waste, and and then it just kind of ballooned out.
Happy to help.
Yeah.
That wasn't the only thing. There was a major change with Treladar that I remember you telling me about.
Yes, Treladar was initially not going to be villains. Treladar was initially going to be sort of... Treladar was going to be a bit of a conspiracy spot. Like, it was going to be, like, run by a secret society of these light people. And, like, there were still elements of it, but just between, like, the Garl story, the Nimbus story, and, like, all the story beats that we had been producing throughout the campaign, like, and DMs, you know what they say, you can never plan because your players will change those plans. And as like you all were making decisions and interacting with the world and coming up with your own ideas about it, I was like, yeah, this could be like a really interesting way to go. And so as we were going through this game, I kept adapting things. And like I ended up rewriting the entirety of the campaign about 3 times. It didn't really get fully set in stone until the middle of the war arc, I would say. When you all got to Treladar, things didn't really get set in stone for an ending until then. But then at that point, I had the story beats figured out. I had the panic attack about all the plot threads I had created, and I had solved a whole bunch of them. And yeah, that's just kind of where it ended up. Hindsight being 2020. I needed to change the way I write for these games because I was doing them as a live show. And I have changed the way that I write for these games. And that change happened beginning of Treladar, beginning of the war arc. But more, it kind of got more solidified towards the middle. Like I found a system that really worked for me. And I think that that's really improved like the storytelling and like the ability of like the show for us. And I think that I improved like all enjoyment of it. And yeah, there was a lot of work that I put in for this.
Yeah. Well, I know at one point you mentioned me that Treladar was the whole issue with them was that it was going to be like some sort of horrific hive mind.
Yeah.
And there were pieces of that sort of made it into the campaign that we were able to like explain by other means. I vividly remember when Nim sent her parents that sending about the androids.
Yeah.
And they responded in unison with like the same phrase, and how freaked we all were by that. And I think that was like originally that was going to be a hint at this like hive mind takeover situation that ended up materializing in a really different way.
I've repurposed that idea for something even better.
Fascinating.
And y'all,
good to know.
Y'all might get to see some of that in campaign 2.
Yeah.
Where was Lynx gonna go?
I personally truly could not tell you, but I'm leaving it up to Will for relatively obvious reasons otherwise.
So just so chat knows, the instructions I got for Lynx were, and Cooper and I haven't talked that much on Discord, it'll be very easy to find this. Where is Cooper? There you are. Go all the way back to one of our first conversations.
Oh, I'm curious.
The fact that I don't remember this.
Oh, this is when I was doing Final Fantasy. Oh, maybe it was on our Facebook. We have way more conversation on Facebook. But TLDR, Cooper had sent me a very bare bones backstory. And I was like, okay, I will play with this. And I just started kind of playing with it and was like, all right, here's what we're doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I honestly, I was kind of flying off the seat of my pants on Cooper's stuff at the very beginning, but then once we got to the Magistguard Waste and I was able to flush it out a little bit more, it was a lot better. And then
a lot of things.
I don't think Cooper got to answer Abby's question.
No,
because Cooper asked me to answer it.
Yeah, like it was something that I personally wouldn't be able to tell you. I think that Lynx is, as previously mentioned, I just don't consider the character to be like super necessary for detail. I think that where the story has ended currently is actually a very good ending point for him. But for relatively obvious reasons, I'm letting Will answer for me. Because he kind of has to.
Ooh, I had a Lynx question. That
What was it?
puzzle box thing that you were playing with, and
Yes.
what was that about? Did we ever figure that out? Did I just
it was one of the instruments of woe. That's really all it boils down to. But I was just kind of morbidly fascinated with it as a character, and I thought it was really fitting for him.
That was one of the instruments? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
That was like I don't think it was the first one, but it was pretty damn close.
It was one of them, and it was one of the ones that was dormant. Because I made it dormant so Cooper could use it as a weapon. But if Cooper had ever unlocked it, it was going to do mental damage and afflict people who were targeted with it with a curse. Where there's this amazing play where it follows two people who begin to hallucinate that they have bugs crawling all over their skin and stuff.
Oh, same.
And that Instrument of Woe was going to cause that, but with audio hallucinations of like constant chattering in the background, like a.
Oof.
Is anyone else thinking puzzle box? Horrible things happen when you open it.
Yeah.
We have
Pandora's
such sights to show you. Such sights to show you. Hellraiser
Oh no.
will tear
Never
your
watched it.
soul apart.
So here's the thing. I initially, when I was also writing, had a plan for a unique monster that I didn't get to use in this campaign, and I won't get to use in campaign 2. But it was a unique monster that, as it killed things, it was able to basically take over the body and take some of their abilities.
Hot damn.
A sort of like evolutionary parasite that would slowly climb its way up the evolutionary ladder. And that was initially going to be the villain for part 2, was going to be these parasites that were infiltrating the world. But then the Trelladar War stuff made more sense, so we went with that. But yeah.
I can get behind that.
Do you have any other favorite scrapped plot lines?
I have a whole bunch of favorite scrap plot lines. I can't tell you any of them because I want to use them one day.
Not any of them?
I can tell you the one about the parasites. So the parasites were initially going to be slowly taking over people in the world. And initially Gwen was actually going to have been captured by them. And I was going to have this like whole arc with like Nimbus like trying to pull Gwen away from this hive mind, and then that was how you were going to learn about the things. I put like a little nod to it in Lynx's like class trip.
Yeah.
To the bugs there, just because like that was like a ruin that I had talked about initially. Like that was going to be like a major set piece.
Yeah.
That's why I had so much detail on it. It was going to be like a major set piece for you all to go to at one point. And yeah, so like the parasite line, that one, but then as I was like writing it about like as we were going through the campaign and getting closer to it, I began watching Hunter x Hunter. It was like, oh, they're just chimera ants. I said it right.
You did.
I did. They're just
said that.
chimera ants. Oh god.
Well, chimera ants are almost kind of worse because they kill people and then kind of bring them back, but as chimera ants, it's kind of even more horrific.
But yeah, so they were very similar to chimera ants in the way they operate, and I was like, maybe not. Let's not accidentally rip off an anime.
Better that than Phyrexians.
Nah, I'm good. I'm not going to touch Magic Story with a 10-foot pole in my games because I'm so angry at it.
You know what plotline we talked about that got scrapped for Nimbus? That this was pitched in like the like character
Creation.
in like pre-session 0 discussion. Nim was originally going to have an arranged marriage arc.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Whole thing.
Yeah.
It was going to be a whole thing, and you didn't tell me at the time which NPC it was. You just told me that it was going to be a guy, and I was like, fair warning, this is a lesbian.
Yeah.
You can certainly try, but she is not going to be interested in that. I had a theory. I thought for sure it was going to be Ascendancy.
Mm-hmm.
I
And then it
actually
just never
also did because
So-
we talked about that.
So, that is an arc that I cut
Interesting.
because it was going to be Ascendancy.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I was right about that.
You were correct. It was going to be Ascendancy, but then we started like doing the Alessandra Nim interaction. I felt that was way more interesting, and I thought that it seemed like you were enjoying it a little bit more. So I was like,
I actually for a long time had a theory that the discussion of an engagement might have been the catalyst for what Alessandra did in the first place.
behind the scenes, that was the case.
interesting.
That was part of it.
That's part of why I was asking her in game, is because I, McKenna out of character, was curious about like the motivations behind that. But unfortunately, by the time we were able to sit down and have an open discussion about it, her memories were
Yeah, I'm
So-
just saying though. I think the Alessandra arc is much more interesting than what the arranged marriage to ascendancy arc would
oh
have been.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Like I'm very happy with that choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was going to be a whole thing because ascendancy was gay, and it was going to be like a whole thing of like these
Yeah.
two folks be like, our parents are putting us in arranged marriage, but we literally have no feelings for each other. We need to get out of
Just
this.
a couple of beards.
Yeah, like literally,
Just
it
a
was going
couple
to
of
be like that.
beards.
A tale as old as time.
Yeah, and then like I started. Here's a fun thing, y'all. I learned a lot of things about writing and specifically about queer media because somebody in my life who I was very close to was very much into that and would point
Was super
things out.
passionate about lesbian media for some reason.
Would point stuff out to me when I did a oopsie whoopsie or like a bad trope. And so then because of that, because I cared very much about this person and still continue to do so,
I would hope it was also because you cared about queer people in general.
well, yes, but
No.
Not just for my benefit.
I mean, yes, but like objectively speaking, I objectively speaking, I wanted to make sure you were having as much fun as possible. So I went and I spent a fair amount of time researching like queer media and tropes that are seen as like bad in that media and how you can avoid them, what you can avoid doing. I think like the worst one that I had in this campaign were queer coded villains, but that's really difficult to not do when the baseline for your world is bi.
And everyone was
Yeah.
attractive.
Yeah.
And wearing leather pants.
And wearing leather
And wearing
pants.
leather pants.
So
It's
it
a
was
trope.
like-
Draco in leather
I-
pants.
I didn't feel like I was doing that trope maliciously. I felt like that trope happening was just kind of a not an underscore. The trope happened because the world was the way the world was.
Aranari was so gay and I loved him for it.
Oh, Aranari
Mhm.
was. Aranari was great.
As much as Nim hated Aranari, I was low key rooting for Aranari and Lynx.
Yeah.
Yes!
I was rooting for it.
I think that's
tried-
very funny.
I tried to sail that ship, but Lynx was like, no.
I still
I
wanted
think
to
Lynx
tear his
was,
head off.
and Cooper out of character, and hopefully I'm not speaking for you. I think you were looking for a little bit more of a slow burn with that.
Yeah, kind of. It was something
Okay.
that I had quite honestly not like denied
Mhm.
the possibility of, but it was something that I found maybe not quite it at the same time. But I don't know. Like it was certainly something that I would have been fine with if it had happened, but unfortunately, I didn't realize that bridge was burning. I really didn't,
Yeah.
and then it burned.
Well, I also like. Okay, so the reason why the bridge burned was, and this is once again a peek behind the curtain at Will's mental state. I got so tired. I got so exhausted of every time this NPC that I love showing up.
Yeah, we would
It would
just
just
shit
be
on
like,
it.
"Fuck you."
Shitted on him.
Yeah, and I was like,
Shitted on
"Okay,
him.
fine. You know what? I'm just going
Okay,
to
fine.
Not
put him in the
going
box.
bad. Not
I'm going to
bad.
put Aranari into the closet."
No more punching bag for you.
And I was like, you know
Fair
what? That's
enough.
fine. I really like this character, but our party's not really jiving with it. So I'll move them away and we'll do something else out. Because
Yeah.
minus
Romantic.
Abby, everyone disliked Aranari.
Nobody
I love you,
liked that.
Aranari!
And listen, as much as I loved Aranari and everything about them, and every aspect of their life, it was impacting your all enjoyment. And my goal as a GM is, and I quote, if the players are having fun, you're having fun. And that's
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that Aranari's presence wasn't necessarily impacting our enjoyment of the game. It was just that we were enjoying.
We were enjoying
Fucking with
shitting on
him.
him.
I mean,
Uh,
I'll just let you know, Will. This is probably no good information now that the campaign's done. But if you had let me kill him, I would have enjoyed myself immensely.
yeah, see?
So
Rip his
true.
head off his shoulders.
I certainly tried. Smacked him with a searing light. That was a fun hit. That was a
I'm
fun
also
moment.
just very bloodthirsty.
Ooh. Would
That-
Garl have done that knowing it would have made Cassandra a little sad?
Oh,
I mean,
That
she
point
would
in the
have.
campaign,
She might have felt
probably.
bad afterwards, but she didn't know that. So
that's fair. Ah,
Garl has the awareness of a cocker spaniel and needs things to be pointed out to her. No, Garl, that's bad.
all right.
Oh.
So we've hit the 2-hour mark.
So,
So
what's your point?
I think
Explain yourself.
I want to get one last question in for everyone.
Wait,
Okay.
let's do more questions.
More questions?
Do you have more questions?
Do you have more
I
questions?
have one.
What do you
I
want?
actually have a couple.
Shoot.
First was how much of what we saw in Death's death game actually came to pass after we dealt with Ragnathon. Like, did the Bukas actually adopt
Yes.
Shayna?
So the Bukas actually adopt Shayna,
Oh,
and Abigail and Shayna become very close friends. The
Aw.
Abbey rebellion doesn't happen nearly as like turn to 11 as it was in that scene. But basically, Abby and Shayna, I think the best way to put it, I'm trying to not do this as like a reference to something because it's not a reference to this, but it's like the easiest like connection to like the type of person in like a young adult life that Abigail became. Abigail became very much like Hori from Horimiya. Just from like a sense of just like that spunk, like the spunk feeling, like not like the character, but like that spunk.
Okay.
But Abigail and Shayna, the two of them essentially become like this like tag team, and they are inseparable. Like they are best friends, and they are best friends not romantically, but they are just best friends.
Well,
And it's like that pure wholesome friendship that will last like the test of time forever, and like the two of them will live their lives, but they'll always have each other. And that's sort of the relationship that Shayna and Abigail have. Shayna ends up actually being with the child that Ascendancy ends up adopting with their partner.
Oh, fascinating.
Feel like we're maybe keeping this all a little too much in the family, so to speak.
That's
well, no,
very
because they're all
bridal.
like best friends, so they like that's like a circle,
Yeah.
social circle.
It's
Like the
the next generation
Kardashian
sort of
dating
thing.
tree.
yeah.
Not that.
But yeah, so Ascendancy in there, so like the two of them, Abigail doesn't actually romantically ever go for anyone.
good for
I
her.
think that's understandable given her circumstances.
Given her
That's very
circumstances,
pop-off
and
of her.
also she just like she would rather forge like a deep emotional bond with someone via friendship than romantically. Like
Yeah.
Abigail and Abby, I realize every time I say this, it sounds like I'm talking about you, but Abigail is ace, like 100% ace.
Probably also a romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that vibe from her.
Yeah, she was.
Whatever happened with Lavania? Do they stay friends? Do they stay in touch?
So Lavanya and Abigail kind of drift apart over the years.
Yeah.
It
Just,
do happen like that.
just because it
It do
happens
happen
like
like
that, but
that.
you know, Abigail's there for Lavanya in the end.
I had a death question.
Mhm.
I want to know exactly who Death was referring to when they named us each by cause of death. I want to know for sure.
Yeah.
Self-sacrifice was Nimbus.
Yeah.
Crystallization was Garl.
But we averted that,
You did.
didn't
That
we?
was it at the time.
Ah.
It's not like death is set in stone.
Yeah.
Lynx could have been
Free will.
walking-
What is it?
Lynx could have been walking down the street one day and gotten hit by a truck.
Truck Coon.
Truck-gun,
Not this.
who will be making an appearance in our anime one-shot.
Lord.
The final boss.
No, I have a plan. But yeah, so I can't remember the other ones off the top of my head.
also
Old
don't
age was
remember.
Cassandra.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, old age was Cassandra because either way, you were either going to die of old age because the Lord of Light was going to keep you in a cage, or you were going to die of old age because Garl and you were going to live a long, happy life together.
Oh,
Yay.
not
Yeah.
keeping her in a cage.
Can I just say how sapphic this game ended up being?
I keep sending McKenna TikToks with the sound with Jennifer Coolidge. Please, the gays.
Like,
These
trying to murder me.
gays, they're trying to murder me.
Please watch season 2 of White Lotus, Abby, if you haven't yet.
If
The
you
context
Watch
for that
season
quote
1.
is wild.
if you want
So I'm like,
sapphic,
yeah,
if
no,
you
that's
want,
Ragnafon the entire battle.
If you want good sapphic media, watch The League of Amazing Adventurers.
So true.
I actually feel
Archer.
I feel confident in saying that. I think we did a very good
Yeah.
sort of sapphic romance plot lines.
I mean, you're making me feel very self-conscious as very much not a lesbian playing lesbian.
Yeah.
It's not very lesbian of you.
No.
Aw.
It worked though.
Me with
I did my
Alessandra.
best.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, me with Alessandra.
Yeah, little baby girl.
Yeah.
Little angry baby girl.
Little angry baby girl.
Um,
But yeah, so that was that, and then the last one was Lynx. I think it was something like explosion. It was an explosion because initially, there was an opportunity for some of that wish alchemy to go wrong.
Was there really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That doesn't surprise me.
Like in-game mechanic or like a homebrew mechanic?
in-game mechanic, technically speaking.
Really?
Yeah,
That's unfortunate. Poor alchemist.
poor alchemist. But yeah, so,
It is what it is.
My second question is, who is the most important person or persons to your character, and what is your biggest point of disconnect with that person? Like, what is your primary source of friction, or like, what do you not see eye to eye on?
I've got this. Okay. So Garl, of course, and I think the place of disconnect there is Cassandra would want to share her books so much, and like what she's reading about. A girl probably wouldn't understand, but I think she also like kind of gets past that by reading to Garl.
Very sweet.
Aww.
just imagine them like Garl sitting in the book nook with Abigail kind of like curled up on the floor, with Cassandra sitting in Garl's lap, kind of like leaning on Garl with a book in hand as the sun's just hitting them just right on like a lovely afternoon day, reading to the two
Little
of them.
French windows.
Yeah,
Will, I also invite you to answer this questions with any
Oh.
and as many NPCs
I will let
as
you pick.
would like.
McKenna, when we get to me, I will let you pick the NPC.
What will you pick?
So many. All right, but Matt, Cooper, either of you have one?
I mean, I could say obviously again, yes, for Garl, the most important person is Cassandra. And I think the biggest disconnect is that Garl, even with all the character growth she's gone through in the campaign, possibly still on probably some level, is always going to be putting Cassandra first. And I know Cassandra wouldn't like that necessarily. Cassandra would like Garl to, look after herself and think of herself, but maybe Garl just thinks she can take care of herself, maybe, or just that Cassandra's more important. But it's always going to be a bit of I think, a point of contention, maybe in a playful way, but
Fair enough.
it's possibly why she goes out first.
Quite honestly, Lynx was always kind of designed with a sense of loneliness in mind. And it's kind of funny just how much that did not happen. But I would say that initially it was Ray that was really important to Lynx. And once Ray left, and even when Ray was still there, Nimbus became more and more of like a beacon to him of like future. And it was never really touched upon, and that actually kind of like sucks, but it's fine. It is what it is. But Lynx always really liked Nimbus. There was like a bit of a spunk to her that he didn't really see in a lot of people, and while it never really came up in character to character conversations, he liked what she was about.
Aww.
I thought Lynx just assumed that Nimbus was just some human.
No, and
Oh.
We
I
never talked about
really,
that in this
really
episode
fucking
almost.
hate how out of context that's been taken.
Yes,
But it's too late, and all you assholes are just gonna continue to do it.
I'm
So
not
it's
I think
doing
fine.
it was the 1-2 punch of you accidentally saying, I believe the exact phrase Nimbus was asking Lynx. The context was Nimbus was asking Lynx about like, I'm considering the possibility that my parents are under some form of duress or are
Mhm.
secretly helping, or like there's something else going on here. Am I stupid for hoping that? And Lynx said, I don't think that's stupid. I think you're just human. And like, with the context of two humans talking to each other, that's a kindness.
Uh-huh.
In the context of an elf talking to a human,
Uh-huh.
it's a dick move. I think if you go back and you watch that VOD, you will watch my face go.
Fuck you.
And then you doubled down on it after the debacle with Ray and Nimbus in cooperation, where Nimbus was, in my opinion, justifiably upset that she had been doused in acid multiple times. And Lynx was like, you guys, we have to respect that Nimbus is very fragile.
Yeah. What fucking ever.
And which was it was so perfect. It was so perfect.
It's so good.
For someone who has like a hard time articulating their feelings, it was it was perfect.
Yeah. With
But
you
I
fucking
I
people.
also think it added to Nimbus's possibly erroneous perception that Lynx just like did not like her.
I hate it here.
I like to
Poor
think
Lynx.
that,
Well, don't worry, you're going somewhere else soon with the new campaign.
I
Much
sure
more
am.
yeehaw. Much more yeehaw.
it's more yeehaw. We're both humans.
Right, we're both humans.
We're
It's
both
gonna be so
humans.
great.
It's gonna be so great.
Skins.
I like to think that in their older ages, especially because I think Lynx outlives Garl and Cassandra, that they
Chip.
probably and what?
And Chip.
And Chip.
That's why.
I mean, Chip
Chip's-
was already
So we
pretty
are.
Chip ends up offering the head of the league and the university to Lynx.
And becomes a ghost detective. By that I mean he's
Yes!
a detective as a ghost.
Yes, and Gallant's
Yes!
is still there with Chip.
Oh
Oh
god.
no!
I kind of love that, honestly.
For all
You
of
simply
humanity.
love to see it.
Come along.
I mean, I guess that
Gallant.
would answer the question of who is Chip's most important in his life and what is his biggest disconnect with him. It's Gallant, and the biggest disconnect is also that it's Gallant.
Gallant, I understand you have an odd way of showing your affection. I just wish it was a different way.
Oh,
This
but-
is.
But Chip, we're quite doing well.
What are you saying? Those aren't words.
Chip.
Chip.
Are you making a pun of my name? We're
Gallant
both
just
dead.
takes a year where the only thing he says are things that rhyme with Chip,
Yes.
just to annoy him. But I was going to say, I think that Nim and Lynx probably have time to like reconnect.
There's a year.
I want to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
There's a year where Gallant speaks entirely in haiku.
As one does.
The owls are back, by the way.
Oh, good. The owls are back.
The owls are back. They're still here. Well, they'll be here for another week,
Oh,
and
I
then
never left.
once things start to melt, they fly away. But
Oh,
No fly.
What about you, Will?
Nimbus's mother.
me too, buddy.
Yep.
Fascinating individual.
I wish it wasn't so disconnected.
Nimbus's, You know what? Just for that, you don't get to know now, Matthew.
There's just something
McKenna-
about
Mc-
Nim's
I'm,
mom.
I'm once
I'm
again,
starting
because
some
of the
fan fiction
actions
writing.
of other people, I am punishing McKenna.
Don't punish the rest of the class. Send me to detention.
I'm
Or to
purely
horny
kidding.
jail.
So, Nimbus's mother. The most important person to her is Nimbus.
I imagine Malachor is up there too.
Not yet. Malachor,
Oh.
unfortunately, because of the way Malachor came to be Malachor, she does not. She always has like a little bit of a disconnect from him because of that. And I don't want to get into how Malachor became Malachor because it's nebulous in my mind because like of the 4 options that immediately come to mind, 3 of them are bad, and it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to put that. Malachor exists, and there's a little bit of trepidation on that. But for Nimbus, the biggest disconnect between Nimbus and her mother, for her mother's point of view, is the simple fact that she did not get to help Nimbus enough. She never got to have the role that she wanted in Nimbus's life, and that is a disappointment to her on her own part. And she started to have a little bit, because we started to play with that a little bit with your mom being like very proud of your adventuring when you were doing the tournament arc stuff, and like that was gonna be like she wanted to like mentor you and give you tips, but you were more competent than she was back then.
That situation is so tough.
Yeah.
Because I think part of the original pitch for Nimbus's character was that it wasn't that her parents were evil, they just had very high expectations for her, and part of this mental break for her where she was like, I can't be that like young debutante anymore. I need to go find something else to do with my life to feel in control of it, and that answer for her was adventuring. Was because of those sky high expectations from her parents. So I do think that would have been an interesting journey to have those expectations be shifted from schooling and social life to her adventuring.
Yeah.
And for in some ways, I'm glad that that pressure was never shifted over to what was supposed to be her escape. But at the same time, it may have actually been a point of reconciliation for these people. I think Nimbus's biggest disconnect with her mother is going to end up being how she treats Malachor.
Yeah, and she's very cold with Malachor. Like it's not like wicked stepmother cold, but it's like there's definitely always a distance between her and Malachor.
Yeah, like I don't know how to interact with this person.
Exactly. Like I don't know how to interact with this person positively. And I feel awful because I know that I've had such a negative impact on their life, and I know there's no way I can ever make up for that negative impact.
Does Malachor agree with that?
No. Malachor spends a lot of time trying to repair their relationship with their family.
Yeah.
And they eventually get it to like a serviceable spot, but unfortunately lifespans are lifespans.
Yeah.
But after that, Malachor's most important person. I'm going to let you all take a guess at who you think it is. I'm curious.
I'm actually gonna guess Sophie.
Okay.
I think it's Desna.
No.
Aww.
Issues with that, possibly.
Yeah, a little bit. Especially with the eventuality of Nim becoming like a Desma replacement.
Yeah, literally.
Terrifying.
The Madoka Magica arc.
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say his dad.
No.
Daddy.
All right, fair enough.
I understand entirely.
Here, give me a second. I'll pull it up because it takes.
Refuses to elaborate and leaves.
No, it's. I just need to remember. I just need to remember names
I'm
Because
so terrified you're going to say it's Lavinia.
Honestly, same.
so give me a minute.
Pause.
There's so many names in this campaign, and I know who it is,
True.
but I can't remember her name because she was
That's
like,
why in the Western we gotta go out into the wastelands. There's fewer people, fewer
no,
NPCs,
y'all
just
will be
ourselves
fine.
and our thoughts.
Trelladar Dance.
Oh, was it the goth girl who ran the store?
Yeah, so it ends up being.
Cute.
Oh, she's not on. I don't have her name here. I moved where it was in my notes on my computer.
Hold on.
Give me a second. But she's a side. It was a side character that didn't get much explanation, but it ends up being her. Purely because of the fact that she basically never really, and it's not like ever a romantic relationship once again, because Malachor doesn't really end up having a romantic relationship with anyone. Just because Malachor feels weird dating someone who is their own age because they know what they know about themselves, and they feel weird dating anyone who's younger than their own age because they don't want to be fantasy Leonardo. Yeah.
Lady Amelia Rosehort.
Yes. But Amelia and
Yeah.
Malachor end up basically having like a very platonic and caring friendship throughout the years.
Aw.
Sweet. That's very
Love that
sweet.
from
It's very
Malachor.
darling.
And the biggest disconnect for them is Malachor is the fact that at a couple of points Amelia tries to make that a romantic relationship, but Malachor doesn't have like the Malachor never really is able to explain.
Since she's technically 20 years older than him.
Yeah, is never able to really explain it to anyone because he doesn't like. It's not that he doesn't feel comfortable. It just sounds so unbelievable, right?
So he never comes clean about it.
Yeah, he never comes clean about it to anyone. The only people who know about Malachor's like age are Nimbus and his family.
Oh,
And the rest of us, I suppose.
yeah.
And then eventually, Malachor just disappears.
What? Oh, Nimbus would not allow that.
Malachor just disappears.
Words for that boy.
I'm sure we'll find a book detailing the quest of the great Nim for her brother and how she ended up disappearing too.
Oh. Oh, my heart. That poor boy.
Well, that was when she became God, okay?
Uh,
But yeah, so that's Malachor. And I think the only other NPC that I really want to touch on then. Gallant.
oh.
Mr. Grixley.
So Gallant's most important person is Chip.
Yeah.
And the biggest point of friction between them is the fact that Gallant always feels like he never did enough for him when he was alive.
Does he ever express that?
No. Because Gallant is Gallant Grixley. I do not talk about my feelings. I'm Gallant Grixley.
I mean, I can see that to a certain extent because of how he was trying to manage Chip's life for a while. Like,
Yeah.
I think in a twisted, weird fucking way, some of what he did could be construed as wanting to help.
Yeah.
Just not in a way that Chip ever wanted or asked for.
It's also muddled too by the fact that Chip was essentially born as an adult.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Chip and
I also
Malachor
don't
should
know if
talk.
it's-
Support group of 2 people. Don't worry, I won't tell your sister anything that's spoken in here.
Aw.
Sophie's pregnant.
Wait, I love that. I love that dynamic for Chip and Malachor. I
Sophie-
love that.
Sophie and Malachor's relationship is strictly professional.
Yeah, I think it also probably
Yeah,
have deteriorated.
Yeah, it did.
I do like the fact that
Like
Melkor might
Malachor
have joked about
understood.
that.
Malachor understood why she basically sold him out, but at the same time, that trust is never rebuilt.
Right. Like there's a whether or not she was being controlled by the Baba Yaga, which she was.
She was.
It's just
It's still that
Yeah.
trust will never get rebuilt.
it's a hard thing to get over, and Nim knows that from personal experience. But interesting. Do you have any other NPCs?
No, I think those are the major ones. Do y'all have any NPCs you want to know about?
Is there a legacy for the Gob Squad?
Top squad.
They went down in history, literally.
Who's their most important people and their biggest disconnect?
You know what? The Gobslod.
Their diet.
They are just happy to be there.
They're just
They're just happy to
That's-
be here.
In the ground.
That's their entire philosophy on life. They are just happy to be living life and be in life, and they're going to live it to the fullest.
hell yeah, fuck yeah.
I mean, there's something to that.
Am I allowed to answer my own question?
Yes. Do it.
Hell yeah.
I must know.
I think it's not. It's got to be Alessandra and Gwendolyn. Also Merle, but I think the biggest disconnect for Merle is just that she has to keep checking in to be like, you're still on this ride. Yes, I don't want to force you to be here.
Merle.
And it's a very one-sided disconnect because for Merle, the answer is always yes, I want to be here.
Silly Miss Nimbus.
I think Merle and Nimbus actually have really interesting parallels for Nimbus and Gwendolyn, and that part of the reason that Nimbus is so loyal to Gwendolyn and that Merle is so loyal to Nimbus is that they feel that that person chose them, and that meant a lot, so they stuck by them. But I think the biggest point of disconnect for the girlies, the little Brightall trio as they were, is that Nimbus is one of those people who needs to feel needed in order to feel loved. So it is a little bit unfortunate that her partners are two of the most capable, independent women I have ever seen in fiction.
You're a boss is
Which,
extraordinary.
can I just say, that should be more common because, yeah. Anyway, I really like.
Well,
the
it is.
idea
I think it's toxic a little bit on both sides because on the
Oh,
one
dear.
hand, it's not to a bad degree. I think
Okay.
it's something that they work on in therapy, though, because from Nimbus's side, maybe you don't need your partners to need you constantly, and maybe that's okay. But also for the girlies, relying on other people is not a death sentence. And that is a lesson that Alessandra and Gwendolyn had to learn multiple times over the course of the campaign.
through multiple
and
very
I- like,
traumatic ways.
I touched on it earlier, but Gwendolyn has this aversion to asking other people for help. And I think it is probably because she has been put in a provider role for the majority of her life. Like she, as much of a boon as it was for Nimbus to have her as a confidant and a friend, she was also Nimbus's only friend and confidant outside of Merle.
Yeah.
She was the sole heir to her family's fortune and responsibilities. She then took on this responsibility of being a vigilante, and saw herself as like the lone protector of the city. So she takes on this provider role and I think has enough of her identity tied up in that it feels like a betrayal of herself to ask for help in a really fundamental way. And then you have Alessandra, for whom asking for help was a death sentence, if not for her, then for the person she was asking for help. So I can it's understandable why they are the way that they are, but also
So, fun Gwendolyn fact.
Oh, give me all of the Gwendolyn
Fun
facts.
Gwendolyn fact. When I was initially creating Gwendolyn, it was still a part of my time in my life where every year I would watch the entirety of the Arrow series.
Fascinating.
And so Gwendolyn has some very light parallels to Oliver Queen built into her.
Yeah, I can see that. I haven't watched Arrow, but I know the general
But
vibe of
there were
it.
some very light, there were some very light attachments to Oliver Queen and Gwendolyn's characterization. Not a bad thing. It's just like a fun fact. Like that was in the back of my head when I was creating her. I also love the vigilante
Interesting.
class in Pathfinder 2.
It's fun.
It's very cool. But yeah, so that's a fun Gwendolyn fact. Elisandra. Elisandra was initially created to be a Monster of the Week type of villain.
Yeah, minor antagonist.
A
And
nemesis, perhaps.
she was going to actually be she was going to take a role of a recurring antagonist. Except every time she failed, a little bit more of her would get eaten by the Baba Yaga until she was just something completely different and monstrous. However, y'all decide to intervene in that. So you stopped that from happening. Good on you.
Yay.
Poor baby girl.
But yeah, that was the plan initially.
I'm still baffled as to why the Baba Yaga ever dropped
So
her in
am
the
I.
first place. Are you?
A little bit. I actually no, I'm not baffled by it. I know why I made that decision. Because that was the
Why did you make that decision?
I made that decision so that could key you to the ability to save her.
So true.
But what was the reasoning for it in game?
In the game, she was annoyed at her overstepping and taking more power than she was supposed to take.
Yes, but the Coven also helped her with that whole craziness with ascendancy.
Yep, they did. And that is why the Coven was punished.
Oh, I had been including the Baba Yaga in the Coven when those discussions were being had.
Nope.
Interesting. So the Coven was also punished. She
Well,
was exiled, but they were punished.
She was exiled, and they lost a certain amount of protection, which cost them their lives during the war arc.
Yeah.
When they got
I really
squished,
heard you say cost them their legs.
their lives.
I mean, it cost them their legs too.
And then we touched on this in the final episode, but she wanted Elisandra back. Was there anything that she needed her for specifically?
She was hoping to latch on to the resentment deep in Elisandra's heart that still remained and rebuild herself from it.
So true.
So beyond just taking her lifespan in that
Not even taking
ritualistic
her
capacity.
Not even taking her lifespan. Literally just attaching herself to the darkest part of Elisandra's heart and slowly regrowing off of it.
As a separate entity?
Eventually. Think like Alien.
Oh, ew. Nasty. Nasty, nasty.
Talk about a heartburn.
Did we ever find out where Elisandra was from originally? Was she born to the Coven, or was she... You mentioned that she had parents,
She did.
and then we weren't really able to elaborate on it because unfortunately so much of her past is unknown to her and also not something that she wanted to get into, and therefore something that Nimbus did not feel comfortable prying into.
Hey, Nimbus.
What?
You ready, McKenna?
Oh boy.
Elisandra came from the same place the Baba Yaga got that ritual from.
That's interesting though, because they also adopt from desperate people.
Mm-hmm.
So she is now twice removed from her original bio parents, essentially.
Elisandra's original bio parents, and I can't remember the actual name of this, so I need to Google it. Because I think it might just be changeling in mythology.
I love changelings.
I don't know what it's called when a fae is swapped with a real kid. I think that's a changeling.
I think
That
that
is-
It's
is
a changeling,
yeah.
yeah.
It's traditionally what
It's
changeling is.
literally a changeling. She is a child of two fae.
Interesting. Okay. Okay,
That's
interesting.
why she was so fine in high society, because she was naturally her Elisandra's two parents are two greater fae.
Okay, additional question then is how did Baba Yaga come to be in possession of that child?
The fae are very particular about their deals, and through their deals, she ended up in possession of the Baba Yaga.
She ended up in the possession of the Baba Yaga?
Elisandra, yes.
Or the Baba Yaga ended up in the possession of her?
She ended up being under the Baba Yaga's care.
I hope we get to explore that in the next campaign because I want to know. Because then now we know that she has managed to wheel and deal two boons from this specific pack. One being the ritual, by which she was extending her lifespan artificially, and the other now being Elisandra.
And that might be something we touch on. Who knows?
Well, I hope so, because if you make me wait any longer for the answers to these questions, I'm going to be angry.
See,
Angie.
it's still cold enough. I know
Angie.
you won't come up here and get them out of me by force.
It's minus
You
11
forget
right now.
that you're coming down here in
I
November.
am. I'm also since the date is so close to my birthday, I might just come down for my birthday and do a thing with everyone down
Oh,
there.
fun.
If that's okay with everyone.
We should go to Disney because I've never been to Disney.
Yeah,
You've
that's
never
fine.
been to Disneyland?
No.
Disneyland.
Let's go to Disneyland on my birthday.
Fun.
Let's do it. It'll be fun. Oh god, I can hear my
Yeah.
parents in the other room. Someone just said they've never been to Disneyland.
Disneyland. Sorry, I just like saying that.
I've been to Disney World twice, never Disneyland.
That's fair.
I don't know the difference.
One's big.
Oh, okay.
Just like Universal Studios.
Well, is it?
I've been to both Universals at least.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so have I actually. They're fun.
Men in Black, best ride.
Will, is it worth asking what happened to Ray, or is there potentially going to be a one shot where we explore that? That is the one loose end that I am devastated we weren't able to tie up.
There could be a one
Um,
shot about Ray. To be honest with you all, I kind of just had Ray teleported into the middle of nowhere to pop out of a bush should Shy ever come back.
Yeah, I understand.
But I remember you
Valid.
saying at one point that you had a plan, and I was very curious.
I had a plan and Shy was able to come back. Shy was not able to come back, so
Yeah.
we did not get to do that plan.
Well, maybe we can talk Shy into a cheeky
Maybe.
little Ray one shot because I want to button up that arc. That's probably my biggest devastation from this campaign is that those two were at we had reached the boiling point where things were about to start bubbling over
And then it
and
just stopped.
ugh,
It's like the universe said, "Okay, we're just gonna."
that's enough of that.
Okay,
She's
so,
just been in limbo, waiting for her to cool down.
Y'all, I'm worried that Matt
In
will turn
timeout.
into a pumpkin if I keep him up much later.
Valid.
Oh, my feet are already pumpkins.
So I have.
And I want pie.
I had one final question that I wanted to ask you all. Now, Matt, pie or cake?
Oh, that's not a fair question. Both have their good points. Pie can be excellent actually when it's warm. Cake is only ever good when it's cold.
No, well, Matt
What?
just asked about
Ice
pie.
cream cake.
Yes, I did.
That's an entirely different kind of thing.
Ice cream cake.
Anyway, for our final question that I had for all of you. Knowing nothing of Campaign 2 except for the characters that you have in mind right now,
Mhm.
and that it is going to be more character focused, what what are you looking forward to? What are you looking forward to exploring?
The sibling dynamic
Yeah, I agree.
for Honey and Christine.
Yeah,
I'm
that's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm so excited for those two characters, and they have such a specific dynamic. Um, and they're also both just a little bit unhinged. I think people who have tuned in for the Friday night show may have seen some of Calder's behavior. Um, but Calder was typically not chaotic for the sake of being chaotic. And sometimes Honey is. And I don't think people have seen me play a character like that on this channel. And I am excited for it.
You're excited to let down your hair, proverbially?
Proverbially. Not literally, because I'm just a hair up kind of girl.
Yeah.
You are.
You have a lot of hair, so it makes sense.
You carry it well up in a bun.
In a little bun.
I love when
God,
McKenna puts her hair down. I
McKenna
think she's so
Imagine
pretty.
if McKenna actually like got apart in hair. How wild that would be.
Yeah.
That would be a
I'll
good
never
show
understand
for you.
that show.
No one does.
Exactly.
All right, so McKenna's looking forward to the sibling dynamic. What else we got?
I'm excited to see exactly how crazy Dee Dee will end up being. I don't think it will be quite Ray level, but she has a bit of a temper.
Yeah. We're all just gonna be some angry some bitches, huh?
So true.
Prone to bar fights.
This next party is not going to be a heroic party.
Nope.
No.
Oh.
They're going to be much more self-interested. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how you all come together with that. Matt?
I'm interested how well I can keep to my character's conviction. He has a plan. He has a goal. He has a dream.
Same.
But it is not an easy one. It is not a pleasant one. And how much of that he's going to take out on the people around him, despite the fact that he may come to be aware that he may need these people, or that he may need these people. We shall see.
And with that, for the final time, I'm going to say thank you all so much for coming to tonight's episode of the League of Amazing Adventurers. Our campaign wrap-up. I'd like to say thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all joining us for this wild ride, and I'm so excited for you to come on the next one with us. Thank you all so much for coming. Don't forget to check out our many other shows here on the channel. And we will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye, you guys.